lots to discuss. We'll get into it. We'll get into it. Okay, let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be listening to us or watching us from. This is the Niger FC podcast. As always, I'm your host, AyoT, and I have with me my co-host.
Smith Layi, thank you for joining.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much for joining us, guys. Another Tuesday, another episode of the Niger FC podcast, and we have a lot to discuss today. A lot to discuss today. I don't know how we are going to keep to time, but we will try our best to speed through a couple things so that we can spend time on the ones that we really need to spend time on. There's been a lot happening. The Super Eagles or the NFF hit us with overnight announcements. I don't know why they've done this thing a couple times now recently that at like 4 or 5 a.m. when people are still asleep, they will just drop update for us or drop news. Maybe they don't want us to react too much. I don't know. But you know, new coach, they gave us squad list today as well. Made it make it look like say the coach now select the squad, but we'll get we'll get into that later. Of course, Nigerian players were in action over this past weekend. Lots of people that performed well. Always pleasing to see. And yes, transfer talk as well. Osimhen still has not moved anywhere. We'll talk about that. Ademola Lookman still has not moved anywhere. We'll talk about it. But yeah, let us get into. Oh yeah, and we have a versus that we're going to discuss today. A lot of people have been talking about it, so there's so much to cover. Let me not waste any more time. So Smith-Layi, I think we should start with the transfers,
Yes.
um, and then we'll get into the rest of the topics. So the first transfer to talk about, we won't spend too much time on this one, but it's just kind of to update you guys. Um, Super Eagles captain William Troost-Ekong, of course, moved to Al Khulud club in Saudi Arabia. You know, getting that big payday. He's 30 years old. Hey, it's time for him to enjoy and reap the fruits of his labor for all these years. William Troost-Ekong has gone to Saudi. He joined them one day. He made his debut the next day. You know, so they didn't waste any time in putting him to work. But yeah, I say congrats to William Troost-Ekong. Nobody can fault you for going to Saudi at this point. Ekong has never been a top player, just being realistic. So this is his big payday, you know. I'm just speculating now. I don't even think he has ever had a contract of up to 50K a week.
Mm.
Just from speculation based on the clubs that he was in, Watford,
Yeah.
Udinese, they're not high payers. And even if they're high payers, they'll probably pay high to their forwards and their superstars, you know, not really a center back. So I think for Ekong, this is his big payday. Go to Saudi, make your money. After some years, call it quits. You know, um, kudos to him. But Smith, like, quick thoughts on Ekong to Saudi.
I think it's a move that we already know about, but it was made official last week. I just think that it's a guy that served. He did well for himself. A lot of people never expected him to even play in the Premier League. He achieved his long time goal of playing the Premier League. He played at the World Cup. He won the best player at the AFCON. He won silver, bronze at the AFCON. So, I'm pretty sure that when he was released at Tottenham, you know, he won't think that he can achieve what he was achieved. So, he's got a beautiful home in London. Now he's heading to the Gulf to go and make some cash. Best of luck to our captain.
Okay. And yes, we wish Ekong the best of luck. We'll get into some other things about Ekong when we talk Super Eagles, but let's leave that alone for now. Another transfer situation to talk about, Super Eagles player as well, who has been a subject of reported interest in recent weeks. I'm talking about Ademola Lookman. Ademola Lookman, of course, has asked Atalanta to put him on the transfer market. He wants to leave. He's been he's been out of the squad for their last two matches. You know, so the picture is clear to us that he's on his way out of Atalanta. But with only a few days to the closing of the window, there's still nothing official yet. According to reports, I saw that he has apparently reached a verbal agreement with PSG.
Mm-hmm.
It is now between PSG and Atlanta to work out the deal. and for everything to go right before it is made official. But
Mm-hmm.
then, whenever I talk about this club and I talk about how they are always window shopping and things like that, people will say I'm being disrespectful to Arsenal. But we now heard that Arsenal are waiting in the wings
Mm-hmm.
in case the deal scatter, then
Mm-hmm.
they will just come with one last minute offer.
Yeah.
Probably at that point, if the PSG deal should scatter, they know
Mm-hmm.
that Atalanta will be desperate, so they might collect less money. Lookman too might say, okay, I'll
Mm-hmm.
collect less money because there's no more time. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's what we've heard about the Lookman situation.
Mm-hmm.
Smith Lai, what do you think about this whole thing? When will Lookman make his move?
Like you mentioned rightly, Arsenal they are doing window shopping, and I have to say clearly here now that Lookman is not their number one. I think their number one is Nico Williams, of Atletico Bilbao. But I don't think that Nico Williams really wants to leave his bosom friend in Spain and head to England. He wants to stay in Spain. So I think that they are just looking for a way to see how they can enter. Sometimes when you see two people fighting and you can easily enter in the middle, I think that's what the role that Arsenal is trying to actually play with this Lookman's deal. But for me, I think that I don't see him going to Arsenal. I think he's going to be PSG, or maybe he's going to end up in Chelsea. Chelsea can buy it. Chelsea can anybody. You see anybody with I don't want to be disrespectful to some people, but when you see anybody just bring him to Chelsea, Chelsea is going to the bank. I'm pretty sure that
No, I mean, if Chelsea is thinking about signing Jadon Sancho now, they can honestly sign anybody. So I'm not even going to disagree with you on that
mm-hmm,
one.
mm-hmm,
But hopefully in the next 3-4 days, this whole Lookman situation is sorted out.
yeah,
He gets his move,
mm-hmm,
and he can, continue to play his football because, he had a fantastic season. He deserves the move. He
mm-hmm,
has paid his dues in all the lower clubs that he has been playing for.
yes,
It's about time that he can
makes the
go
big.
to a big team, make some money, win some more trophies. You
Mm.
know, I really hope that this comes to fruition in the next few days.
I just want to add something. There's also what's it called? Saudi interest too with Lukeman, but some people don't talk and say let him stay in Europe, collect Saudi money, and which team can he do that? PSG. Stay in Europe, collect Saudi money. So I think PSG might probably be the best bet for him.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And speaking of Saudi, a lot of Nigerian players are getting linked to Saudi these days. But
Mm-hmm.
there's another Nigerian player. This transfer saga has gone on and on and on. You
Mm-hmm.
know, sometimes when I think about it, it's a bit crazy that we knew since last season that he's going to leave, that he wants to
Mm-hmm.
leave.
Yeah.
But somehow, with 3 or 4 days left in the
Mm-hmm.
transfer window, we
Yeah.
still don't have any confirmation. Nothing is official because of
Mm-hmm.
finances, because of one thing or the other. Of course, if you don't
Mm-hmm.
already know, I'm talking about Victor Osimhen. You see this
Mm-hmm.
picture on your screen. This is how
Mm-hmm.
I've been feeling. This is how I've been looking, waiting for something to happen with
Mm-hmm.
this Osimhen transfer. Um,
Hmm.
Now the latest information that is reaching us as of about 20 minutes ago is that there are only 2 clubs interested:
Hmm.
Al Ali of Saudi
Mm-hmm.
and Chelsea FC of England.
Yes.
Of course, Chelsea have maintained their position since.
Mm-hmm.
For them to make this deal happen, the finances have to make sense.
Yes.
Osimhen has to fit within the wage structure that
Structure.
is at the club.
Mm-hmm.
I've I've not spoken to Osimhen, so I don't know what is true. But
Mm-hmm.
I've heard some crazy things. I've heard, oh, he's asking for 450, he's
Mm-hmm.
asking for 500K, all
Mm-hmm.
sorts of things. But it has come down to 4 days to go in the window.
Mm-hmm.
Only 2 clubs are interested. They said PSG are not even, looking at that right now. Only
Mm-hmm.
Al Ali in Saudi and Chelsea. Of course, Osimhen's agent came out and said Osimhen is an asset. He's not somebody to be thrown away for a new project. So he's implying that Osimhen is not going to Saudi. So
Mm-hmm.
Chelsea seems like the most likely destination now, but they
Mm-hmm.
need to be able to work out the finances. Although they said Alali are dead, they are waiting. If the Chelsea deal should not happen, then go just tap and say, boy, why don't you come home and make some millions?
Mm-hmm.
But this Osimhen thing, honestly, is getting tiring, man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy that the window is closing because it has to come to an end.
Mm-hmm.
Will he stay? Will he go? We have to wait and see. But Smith Layi, what do you think about this whole current situation with Victor Osimhen?
You said that you are tired, and you gave an expression about how you feel. I'm pretty sure that you are echoing the feelings of others here about what is really happening in this. In fact, this is the longest transfer saga I've ever seen. I have to, apart from Johnny Mikel in 2005. The way you are confused is also the way those reporting it are also confused. Gianluca Di Marzio
Yeah.
is reporting that PSG, they are going for Victor Osimhen. When he posts, Fabrizio Romano will come back and say, no, or
Yeah,
don't.
not
We say, no, that guy will go. That guy, I think that guy is the Sky Italia reporter,
yeah.
Gianluca Di Marzio. When he posts again, this guy, I'm just seeing the Nigeria flag there. Fabrizio will come. Say, no, 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 no beat. So everybody doesn't even know what is happening. In
Mm.
fact, people are as confused as anybody else. In fact, we say when they talk now, we seem to be even getting more information than them. They don't seem to understand what is going on. But for me, I just think that I'm really, really confused. I don't know what is going. But I tend to think that Gianluca Di Marzio might be right. PSG will put in a bid because
Mm.
of because of Ramos that got injured.
Injured.
I think PSG might even win the race because I think he already agreed personal terms. It's just for Napoli to sell him. But the problem now is this. I think there's been bad blood when they were negotiating Ezekiel Lavezzi deal and between Napoli and
Of
PSG.
of how many years ago?
And also this guy's deal, what's it called? Cavani.
Mm.
I don't think they have the best of relationship between the two parties. I don't think so. Because the 60 million that PSG wants to present is also the same thing that Saudi want to present now. But what is in that package for Saudi that is making Napoli to want to accept Saudi and not to accept the PSG one? So I also think that one person must be able to shift set in this situation just for Victor Osimhen to actually want to move on. One, for Victor, if you like, don't sell him. He'll be collecting 250 playing for second team in your this thing, and you'll be paying him. If you don't pay him, he will take it to FIFA.
Mhm.
So for me, I just think that we are very confused. But like you will say, we have to add 2+1. The two from Fabrizio, one from Gianluca Di Marzio, PSG plus Chelsea and Alila. Any of those three options actually was going to be where Victor would land. I think so.
Mhm. Okay, let me ask you this question because you're saying there's issues between PSG, Napoli, everything. Osimhen's
Mm-hmm.
agent say he's not going to Saudi. Where
Yes.
does Osimhen lie in the middle of all of this? Where do he and his agents lie in the middle of all of this? Because we know this that right now the only thing that is stopping Osimhen to Chelsea
Mm-hmm.
is salary.
Yes.
If Osimhen today should say, you know what, I agree, I'll
Mm-hmm.
drop my salary demands, Chelsea
Mm-hmm.
will make the deal happen.
Mm-hmm.
Me, oh, I'm not going to tell anybody what to do with their money.
Mm-hmm.
But at what point do you think Osimhen and his agents just say, you know what, let's accept to take lower wages?
Mm-hmm.
Let us move to Chelsea or let us move to PSG and get the ball rolling. Because Chelsea, the new structure at Chelsea is they pay less or average wages in the Premier League.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do well,
Mm-hmm.
just like we saw with Kopama, one season of Kopama doing well,
Mm-hmm.
they increased the salary to close to star level. Now, I don't know what exactly Osimhen's demands are because I'm not in negotiation.
Mm-hmm.
But from what we are hearing things like 350, 400, 500.
Mm-hmm.
The reality of it is that those are like extreme high level salaries.
Mm-hmm.
Those are superstar
Mm-hmm.
salaries.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with all due respect to Victor Osimhen,
Mm-hmm.
do you think Osimhen is a player that commands like 400,000 a week?
You see, if Sterling could be getting paid 225 and Lukaku is on, I think, 300 plus or so, and I think Victor Osimhen deserves all the flower he gets. I have to be honest with you. This is number 8 in the world in the balloon there, or the
But
best player in Africa.
Smith, like,
Yeah.
I'll cut off and I'll disagree with you because I will say it, I don't think he deserves that much, honestly. And this is not to down on Victor Osimhen. You say Sterling.
Mm-hmm.
Check Sterling's history. Check
Mm-hmm.
Sterling's record.
Mm-hmm.
Sterling was a top level player for
Mm-hmm.
several years
Mm-hmm.
before he moved to Chelsea and he collected that kind of money.
Mm-hmm.
Lukaku has a goal scoring record for
Mm-hmm.
several years, including in the Premier League, before he got that kind of money.
Mm-hmm.
Victor Osimhen, the truth is, I love Victor Osimhen, but
Mm-hmm.
the kind of money, and that's even one of the reasons why Chelsea does not want Sterling anymore. Chelsea does not want Lukaku anymore because
Mm-hmm.
they are earning more money than what they are contributing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but look at the kind of money now that we are saying that Osimhen is asking for: 350k, 400k.
Mm-hmm.
That is Kevin De Bruyne, Mohamed Salah, Erling Haaland type of money.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you are going to ask for Erling Haaland type of money, then you better be competing with Erling Haaland in terms of goals.
Mm-hmm.
You better be. And Osimhen hasn't scored that kind of number. Osimhen has had 2 fantastic seasons, in my own opinion.
Mm-hmm.
One in Lille, another in Napoli. Last season was good, but last season was not 350,000 a week level good.
You okay?
He scored about what 20 something goals last season.
Yeah.
You know how many did Haaland score? Way more than that.
Yeah.
So for me, I look at it that I want him to get his coins, but would he allow this money continue to slow him down and not allow him get a move? Because for me, when I look at the kind of money that we are hearing, I don't think he's doing enough to, like, even Messi, Ronaldo did not make 500k a week. You know, so it's like I don't really see how it justifies it. When you now consider the fact that he gets injured a lot, I honestly don't see how it justifies it. But I'm open to listening to people. I'm open to listening to you. But for me, I think Osimhen deserves about maybe 200, 250 max.
For
Honestly.
me, we can only speculate about his salary demand. But the season that Lukaku moved to Inter Milan, that was the season. No, the season that Lukaku moved to Chelsea, that was from the 2021 season with Inter Milan. How many goals did Lukaku score?
I mean, I can check if you actually
Yeah,
want me to
you can
check.
check. You can check because in his whole career, he scored 47 goals for Inter Milan. So how many goals did he score in that season that took Chelsea, that Chelsea took him for that type of amount of money?
It's not so. Again, what I will say is that I don't think it is a thing of season by season per se. I think it is a thing of his track record.
Mm-hmm.
He had scored 87 goals for Everton. He had scored 78 goals. Or okay, maybe he has scored for Inter so far is 78, but that includes before he joined Chelsea and went back there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But for Everton, he had scored 87 goals. You said he had scored 40 something for Inter.
Mm-hmm.
So with over 120 goals in his career,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it kind of makes sense. Don't get me wrong. Lukaku was and is being overpaid. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But he had more of a shout because of his track record leading up to that year. It wasn't like one season, because like the reality of it is Osimhen had one season that was outstanding, finished 8th in the world, fantastic season. But other than that, like, you know, it hasn't been like that consistently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but for me, I just think that we can just speculate what he demands. But I think that if they match his salary in Napoli, I think Victor Osimhen will actually will join Chelsea.
I mean, and if they match his salary, he'll probably join. But then, I mean, Napoli essentially gave him that big salary just to get him to stay.
Mm-hmm.
Their plan was not to keep him on that salary. So even they know that they overpaid a little bit. But I mean, I don't want it to look like, oh, I don't want my Nigerian brother to make his coins. So if he wants to stick to his demand, let him stick to his demands. I just think that when we talk about other players, like for example, when we're talking about, oh, this guy went to MLS, oh, why is he doing that? People say, oh, money. He doesn't care about his career, money. For
Mm-hmm.
me now, I think this is a similar situation of a player wanting a specific amount of money and is refusing to budge and can potentially put him in a bad situation for the season, or at least for half of the season. The window open again in January. So I
Mm-hmm.
really hope that either Chelsea accepts the demands or he lowers it. I just think that the fact that he has allowed himself not really have a preseason, he has allowed himself not start the season just because of wage demands.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the same way we talk about players moving to Saudi, players moving to USA, that's the same way it feels to me,
Mm-hmm.
because it's not like he's a broke boy. It's not like he's not making a lot of money. He's making a
Mm-hmm.
lot of money already. So for me, we see it all the time in football. Players take wage cuts to get into certain spaces, to
Mm-hmm.
fit into a structure. I really do hope that he accepts. But yeah, we have to wait and see. We have to wait and see. I can see some people say they agree with you. Some people say they agree with me. Everybody has a different opinion on this, so I cannot really say what it is. But you know, he should join Chelsea. For me, I want him to join Chelsea, Sha. But obviously, if it was my money, I would have paid him how much he wants, but it's not my money, you know. And of course, with financial fair play and all these things happening now, you know, at the end of the day, the club is looking out for themselves. If you sign a player
Yeah.
now and then the whole club goes into financial issue in the next season, even that player, you'll be collecting your money, but it will affect
Yes.
whatever
It will
whatever
affect us.
success
Yeah.
whatever success you're looking for in the club, because the club will have to start selling some of their best players, things like that, you know. But let us see. And speaking of Osimhen and his money, this is very off topic, but I found it very funny and amusing. So, I mean, if you're watching this and you're Nigerian, you probably know who Bobrisky is.
Mm-hmm.
Bobrisky was in prison some time ago, and he came out of prison and he released a list of people that donated money to him when he was in prison. And
Mm-hmm.
and he said Osimhen gave him 3 million naira. And when I saw it, I was just like, this is the most random thing to me. I would have never thought that Osimhen and Bobrisky are friends. I mean, I don't know the nature of their relationship. I'm not going to speculate. But when I saw it, I was like, this is very, very random. And this is proof that Osimhen has more money than he knows what to do with.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know if anybody else saw that. I just thought it was very funny. Some of the other names there, I'm like, yeah, it makes sense. But when I saw Osimhen, I'm like, what thing concern Osimhen with Bobrisky? Bobrisky?
Maybe they actually was friends before. Could be. Maybe they actually was friends initially.
But kudos to, I mean, we know
With
that Osimhen makes friends with
yeah.
anybody that, I don't want to get into it. It may not be like Saturday,
Uh-huh.
but yeah. And it was funny because when his other friend that he gave recording of Finidi George at that time,
Mm-hmm.
when he did his own video talking about, oh, I'm disappointed in this person, I'm disappointed in that person. I watched that video. I was waiting to see if he will say he's disappointed in Osimhen, but he don't call Osimhen name, because he know say Osimhen go still wire him another 5,000 or 10,000. So
Mm-hmm.
you cannot bite the hand that feeds you.
Definitely.
Um,
Yes.
but Osimhen obviously has enough money. He should come and donate money to our channel. Maybe,
Uh-huh.
maybe do something,
Yes,
or
you can
maybe
do that.
Smith Layi, you need to go and commit a crime. May they carry you inside British prison.
Uh-huh.
Just 3 months. Maybe just use them. Smith Layi is locked up. We
Eh?
need we need money.
Victor will say, okay, well, let me support this guy.
you know. Um, but yeah, all the best, Victor Osimhen, man. We are waiting for this transfer to happen. 4 days, so is now or never. Okay, that is that on Victor Osimhen. But we are going to keep the conversation still around Chelsea Football Club, because Chelsea has been in the news a lot recently for several reasons. Whether it is for having 60 players, just today the news now has been that Chelsea has 8 goalkeepers. But one of our Nigerian legends, one of our Nigerian legends, John Obi Mikel, obviously Chelsea legend, won a lot of things for Chelsea. He has been one of the people that has been publicly really, really pushing for Victor Osimhen to join Chelsea. And he has been, I'll say, embroiled in a little bit of a war of words. He's made several comments on his podcast, on TV, talking about Nicholas Jackson. And of course, Nicholas Jackson took offense to these comments and then responded after he scored a goal for Chelsea in their 6-2 victory against Wolves. Now, Smith Layi, I'll let you go first on this one. After Jackson's comments, Mikel went back on that same podcast and said, "Hey, if you keep scoring, I'll shut up."
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people feel like, waiting Jackson don't do. What has he done for him to be calling out Mikel in public like that?
Mm-hmm.
Some people feel like, well, he's within his rights to be offended by what offends him. Nobody
Mm-hmm.
can tell you how to be offended or what to be offended by.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you stand in this whole Mikel versus Jackson situation?
So I don't know what Mikel did that is wrong. I don't know his offense that is wrong, that Jackson thinks that it's appropriate for him to behave that way. Match of the day happens in the UK Sunday and Saturday. There's been loads of comments about Jackson, which I know that Jackson is even watching those match of the day. Did Jackson come out and say, "Shut up, Gary Lineker, shut up, Alan Shearer, shut up, what's it called? Yeah, right? Shut up, everybody should shut up." Did he say that? Because he just realized that it can easily go against his fellow African brothers too. That's why he's doing that thing. For me, I don't think, apart from being from the same country, I don't think Mikel said anything. One, it's a fact. You need Jackson will need 10 chances to score one goal. Jackson is the striker that can go to the box and kick the air. Jackson, what has Jackson not done for Chelsea? So for me, Mikel is right, because if you say that you keep quiet, so when it needs to be fair, he's got a big platform, or be one podcast. You can see he's being invited by beIN Sport now and everything because of what he's doing. So for me, I think Mikel has the right to actually to criticize Jackson, because Mikel also played for the same team before. So for me, I think that Jackson is just trying to show himself out of the door in Chelsea. You remember during the Fernandez thing too, all his teammates, they went left, he went right. The same thing. So for me, I think he's just trying to get noticed. I think he should go and score against next weekend, so that maybe he can do that shot up very well. For me, I'm with Mikel in this.
Okay. Yeah, with Mikel on this one. I'm going to, you said everybody goes left, Jackson goes right. I'm going to go right with Jackson on this one. And, you know, I, I mean, maybe I'm in the middle. I'm not even really going right. I think this is a case of two wrongs don't make it right, in my own opinion. So here's the thing. All the criticism that Mikel had about Nicholas Jackson, valid criticism. Valid. I'm not even going to deny that. Jackson frustrated Chelsea fans last year. A valid criticism. But I think there's some things that Mikel could have done better. One, he could have picked his words better in certain instances. He could have been less reactive. And the third thing, he could have known the amount of times to talk about Nicholas Jackson the way he did. If you do 4 episodes on your podcast, you're talking about this guy, how he's not the solution. He's not the solution. He's not good enough. You need a top striker like Drogba. This one, that one, that one. You go on TV with beIN, with different platforms, is the same thing you're saying. Jackson is not good enough. Jackson is not good enough. We need a better striker. there's almost no way that it doesn't start to come off as targeted. There is no way, in my own opinion, that that person doesn't start to feel like you are picking on him. Because Chelsea had many problems last season. It wasn't just striker. Many problems from defense all the way to striker. But then I watch Mikel's podcast very diligently. A lot of the time, he made it sound as if Nicholas Jackson was the problem with Chelsea. When you now add the fact that he is championing for Victor Osimhen to join Chelsea, he has been saying it publicly severally. And then Victor Osimhen is, for lack of a better term, Mikel's younger brother. Now it comes off as if you are just insulting me, bashing me, and pushing your brother to take my spot. I completely understand how Jackson will be offended by that. When you now consider the fact that you are now somebody that keeps on talking about being pro-Africa, and it's as if you want to remove the food from my own mouth, put on for your brother mouth, but you claim that you're fighting for all of us. I can see why Jackson will be offended. Somebody is saying he also talked about Dewsbury Hall. Again, it is not just talking about Jackson. It is the number of times that he was talking about Jackson. The rhetoric that he kept on pushing, both on his own platform and on other platforms. He spoke about Dewsbury Hall maybe once, max twice. You can go and look for every time Mikel Obi has spoken about Jackson. If he reached like 10 times. And that's it for me. I just understand how Jackson can be offended. Even when Mikel spoke on being sports, he said, I know that sometimes it can come across as disrespectful or as if I do not like the player. Mikel himself admits that he knows that the way he talks about this guy can come across as disrespectful. So why would anybody now be surprised when the player thinks that it was disrespectful? So for me, what I just disagree with is I disagree with the way people are acting as if Jackson just started vexing because one person criticized him one day. No, a lot of people criticize him. He got mad because Mikel criticizes him constantly, uses language that is not very encouraging. Mikel, when in his response, spoke about constructive criticism. It's not every time that he has been constructive. Sometimes he has just been bashing the guy. That's the reality. So for me, I understand why Jackson will get upset. Now, do I think the right reaction for Nicholas Jackson is to go on social media and be blasting Mikel back? No, that's childish. That's unprofessional. I'm not going to defend that. It's wrong. Simple as that. But then, when you punch somebody, you cannot tell the person how they should react. You feel punch somebody small, the person punch you, they knock you out. Is how they react. If Mikel was maybe a Chelsea coach or a fellow Chelsea player or was involved in the club, it would have been different. No matter how the person punches you, you should not punch back. But Mikel is an outside person. Yes, he's a Chelsea legend, but he's from the outside looking in. So for me, I think Mikel overdid it, in my own honest opinion. I think Mikel overdid it. And I think Jackson too just showed this childish tendency in terms of his reply.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, the pressure is on Jackson. You're the one that now has to keep on scoring and keep on scoring, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't score like this now, or maybe you go on a goal drought or you start missing chances,
Mm-hmm.
then everybody will say, "Oh, look at what Mikel said. Mikel is right."
Yeah. So can I just
Sorry. Before you go, again, I love people because when you say what people are thinking or what they agree with, they love you. You know what you are doing. When you say what people disagree with, all of a sudden you know nothing. You are disappointed in me. If you are disappointed in me, hey, feel free.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has the right to their own opinion, just like Mikel has the right to his opinion about
Yeah.
Jackson.
Yeah.
But for me, in this case, I think it was two people that did wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Mikel beat the Jackson situation way too much.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jackson also should not have reacted the way he did on social media.
Yeah.
Smith Layi, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to give examples of two situations. I remember I'm going to give one about Cucurella, about when Gary Neville came out like twice or so and talk about Cucurella. That the reason why Spain would not win is because because this Cucurella. He kept on bashing Cucurella.
Mm-hmm.
But after when they won the trophy, Cucurella very good as to say, "Thank you, Gary.
Mm.
We went all the way."
Mm.
Jackson, why can't C be more appropriate way? See, let me tell you something. Punditry, you can see. Look at Onana. See, if they put Onana and Gary Neville into the same place in some time, for some time, they will nearly fight because every day is Onana. Every day is Onana. Did you hear Pim from Onana?
No, but see, that's the thing. Again, I've said it. I'm not defending what Jackson did.
Uh-huh.
Jackson was wrong.
Yeah.
I've said that Jackson was wrong. It
Mm-hmm.
was unprofessional. It was childish. He shouldn't
Yeah.
react like that.
Yeah.
So again, like you said, Cucurella replied, but he replied in a more professional manner.
Yes.
Exactly. Jackson replied in an unprofessional manner.
Yeah.
What
Mm-hmm.
I am addressing is how people are making it seem as if
Okay.
Jackson is vexing for no reason.
Yeah.
That's what I am addressing.
I just want to like make one point too before I have round up my are we going to say that what Gary Neville said about Cucurella is wrong? No, because Cucurella had like a horrible season, so he thought that it wasn't right, it wasn't wrong. What he was saying about Onana, he was making mistakes. It's not as if he was wrong. So, and what Mikel said about Jackson too, it wasn't wrong about Jackson. Jackson can miss opportunity from now to tomorrow. You don't do that at the top level. But I understand you the way you said that, okay, maybe the approach. But for me, you can't teach me how to do my job.
No,
If
but
I
see, Smith, like, see, what I would say is, let's even forget approach.
mm-hmm,
For me, the things that I look at that
mm-hmm,
if I were Jackson, that might make me offended as well,
mm-hmm,
is like I said, the number of times you keep on talking about me over and over again. Even when I didn't have a bad game, you talk about me. When I have a bad game, you talk about me. And then when you combine that with the fact that he is now pushing his brother into that sport, it can come across as spiteful. It be like, say, Smith, like, may one person now for this our live now. The person say, AyoT, Smith Layi is not a good co-host. He said the wrong this thing that day. He said the one. Then that same person go down the talk say,
there'll be many of them.
Adedotu should be the one. Adedotu should be the one. Adedotu
Yeah,
should be the one. At some point, it will start to
there'll be
look
many of them.
it will start to look personal. That's it for me. Like, I'm just saying, at some
Mm-hmm,
point it will start to look personal. Like,
mm-hmm,
waiting I do you now, bro.
mm-hmm,
Like,
mm-hmm,
I'm okay, you've said it, I'm not good. We've heard, we've accepted I'm not good.
mm-hmm.
But you don't want to let it rest. Then you're
Yeah,
now pushing your junior brother to come
mm-hmm,
and take my position. So
yeah,
for me, when I combine those things,
mm-hmm,
I understand why Jackson got offended. And I understand why he replied. Should
mm-hmm,
he have replied? No, he shouldn't. Was it unprofessional? Yes, very unprofessional. But
mm-hmm,
for me, I like to look at things rationally, at least from my own understanding.
mm-hmm.
And I just feel like I understand why Jackson would have been upset. I understand. That's just it. For
I
me, I
also make
understand.
my final point because of just I'm seeing that from comments. So come after me very well. I want to say something about that Mikel thing. When Chelsea did not play, did Mikel come out and criticize Jackson? If Chelsea is not playing.
I mean, I cannot speak exactly. Let me not say the wrong thing.
Uh-huh,
I don't know exactly.
uh-huh. So if somebody that comes,
Wait. You said when Chelsea did not play.
yeah, maybe Jackson is just sleeping at home, and Mikel is saying that he's
I mean, during preseason, it probably happened.
that they didn't play at all.
Yeah. When he was just talking about what Chelsea needs during preseason.
Yes, now because he's projecting about what Chelsea needs. It's not as if that Jackson is just sleeping at home, or Jackson was injured for like 3 months, God forbid, and Mikel is now saying that it's the reason why they lost because he's playing. If Jackson wants Mikel to stop talking, he should not play, or he should play well.
No. I understand. See, for me, I understand both sides. Again, my own is just that I like let people not act as if he just came for no reason. and started shouting. And some people are saying, "Oh, Osimhen Finidi," and for me, I don't think it's the same situation because one, we didn't know any fact about what Finidi said. It was all speculation. This one, we know what Mikel said. The videos are on his YouTube, they are on everywhere on social media. So we know exactly what he said. You know? And two, Finidi was Osimhen's coach at the time. If you cannot come out and be bashing your coach. If Enzo Maresca should go to press conference now for the next 3 months and he will say Jackson is not Jackson is not good, they no born Jackson to respond. You know, that's just the truth. If it was somebody in the club, he cannot dare respond. But it's because Mikel is from the outside looking in. Mikel always claims to be pro-Africa, you know, as if he's fighting for Africans. He always talks about what he has done as an African player to grow the game. So that's why somebody like Jackson just look at it like, brother, if anybody supposed to be my side, now you supposed to be my side now. You can't lambast me every day. They push your brother into my position. So for me, people might disagree with me, but I think it's a case of two wrongs don't make it right. If you have a platform, you have to learn how to use your platform wisely. The reality of it is that if, for example, now somebody like a Gift Urban, for example, how last season I felt like he didn't have a good season. If every single week that he played a bad game, because you're saying, no, it's not like Jackson was not playing. Urban had many bad games for Lyon last season. If every single week he has a bad game, we come on live and I'm talking about how we just played a bad game. Or Chukwueze, every single week he has a bad game, we come and talk about, oh, Chukwueze had a bad game. If he's watching or if he's listening, at a point, Chukwueze go talk, say, this Eagle Striker guy no like me. In fact, that's the not even half of that is not even up to half that Osimhen used to block me. Twice I criticized Osimhen, he go block me. He no bash me because I no get level reach Mikel. So if he bashes me, it doesn't do anything for him. But twice I criticized Osimhen, he blocked me on social media, even though I've praised him a million times. So for me, I just look at it that people have different ways that they take things. People react to things differently. I understand why Jackson was upset. I don't think he should have replied, but I understand. I just don't agree with people that are making it seem as if he just came and was shouting for no reason. But now the onus is on him to go and score more goals. The onus is on him to go and prove Mikel wrong. I like the way Mikel replied. Hey, keep scoring and I'll shut up. So he needs to keep scoring so that Mikel will shut up. And if Osimhen joins Chelsea, hope they don't go get beef for locker room. I know we say Jackson go the eye Osimhen and say, "Oh, now you can now you can take my spot." You know, I hope everything goes well. But that's my take on the whole situation. Let's move forward just because of time. Let us move forward. And sorry, if Osimhen joins Chelsea, we're going to talk about Jackson almost every week now on this podcast. But yeah, let us move
There's
forward.
going to be episode Jackson Osimhen.
Eventually. Okay, let me just quickly see what comments are saying very quickly before I move forward. I know a lot of people were disagreeing with me. I appreciate your opinion. Let me see. Let me see. Temi says if Osimhen comes to Chelsea on that salary and it doesn't perform, wahala good day. Um, After Mikel's comment and Osimhen doesn't surpass Jackson, fight good deal. Okay. Let me see. Otto says, I thought Ayo, you know better. Stop this thing you're saying. Mikel never did anything wrong. ESPN, Talksport, everyone is bashing the same Jackson, but he never calls anyone out. Uh, I've explained my position. If you disagree with me, fine. Um, Osaro Patrick says, IoT, you don't know anything. I'm so disappointed in you right now. What are you even saying? You're supporting rubbish. Again, I'm not supporting anybody in this situation. I hope you listened to me. I am not supporting anybody in this situation. I'm simply understanding. I'm simply understanding. Emmanuel said Jackson scored just a goal and is calling Mikel out. Let's see what he'll become by the end of the season, and he may not even achieve half of what Mikel achieved. He may not. But again, in my own opinion, you cannot slap somebody and then tell the person how to react. Um, okay. Oluyimide says Mikel complains about Chelsea's team as a whole, and not only him, even Frank Leboeuf complains about the team as well. Again, if you heard what I said, it's not about Mikel complaining. It's about when you keep on harping on and on and on about the same person while trying to project your own person, it starts to come off somehow. Um, MySpace Place says pundits will talk, players have to get used to it or deal with the consequences of starting a back and forth. Yeah, I agree. Pundits would always talk, people would always talk. Some players know how to keep quiet, some players talk. And for people that are making it seem like Jackson just reacted at the first criticism, if it wasn't specific to Mikel, it would have reacted to somebody since. That's why I'm trying to explain to people that it is based on the fact that Mikel kept on going on and on and on and on and on, combined with the fact that he's pushing Osimhen to Chelsea. Because if Jackson was just somebody that used to get upset at criticism, if I don't they bash people every week, but he chose Mikel because of how the Mikel one feels. Um, but yeah, let's move on from Jackson and Obi Mikel. I love Mikel Obi. I love Mikel Obi. I can't say I love Jackson. So, but I pick no sides in this one. Okay, very quickly before we get into Super Eagles talk, let us just quickly do a review of Nigerian players that performed well in this past weekend of action. Um, Lots of players, did well from various leagues around the world, all the way from Asia to Africa to Europe. I'll just take some of them that I think deserve a mention. Goalkeepers, Maduka Okoye did well, three saves, had a good game for Udinese. They beat Dele Bashiru's Lazio. It was a good performance by Okoye, always making important saves in Udinese games. So kudos to him. Matthew Yakubu also had a decent game in, I forget the league that he's in now. It's not a very high league. Red Fox is the name of his club, but he had a decent game. For defenders, Olaino, good performance, 4 goals, one chance created for Forest in their victory over Southampton. Joshua Kuje helped his team keep a clean sheet. Ilves in Finland is the name of his team. Joseph Olowu, 9 clearances, 8 draws, one. Really made his presence felt for Doncaster Rovers. Kept a clean sheet there. Olisanda captained Orlando Pirates, kept a clean sheet in their 4-0 victory in the CAF Champions League. Shemilogo Ajayi, 8 goals, one, 3 clearances, 3 interceptions, did well for West Brom in their 2-1 victory, I believe it was, over Stoke City. And then a young player that I think people should maybe start paying attention to. I'm not sure if I mentioned him on the pod before. Vince Osuji, playing for Kalmar FF in Sweden. He scored his first goal of his professional career, made 9 clearances, won 5 draws. I'm probably going to post his highlights on our Twitter page tomorrow. Fantastic, fantastic performance. Another good display from him. He has been performing quite well this season, has been doing well for Kalmar FF. And I think he's one to watch. If he continues like this, it won't take long before he leaves Sweden. And he's only 20 years old, I believe. So Vince Osuji for Kalmar FF. Keep an eye on him. Keep an eye on him. And then Kingsley Ehisbue, 2 interceptions, 2 clearances, 2 duels, made 1 goal line clearance to help Udinese get that 2-1 victory over Lazio. In midfield, Anthony Junior Dennis, 20-year-old midfielder playing for Göztepe in the Turkish Super League. At only 20 years old, the boy has been impressing me. Has been doing well in their game so far this season. He was there with them last season as well. I think also another player that maybe people should keep an eye on. Good midfielder. Can he make Super Eagles yet? No, because people will start asking Super Eagles. No, you cannot make Super Eagles yet. But I think he's developing well, and just want to monitor and see how he progresses in his career. David Moses for MFK Cavrina, 8 goals, one, 5 interceptions, 3 clearance, 3 tackles. Another good midfield performance. David Moses has also been doing well this season. We had Lookman Gilmore scored a goal for Uratu FC in Armenia, and then Wilfred Ndidi 6 goals, one chance created for Leicester City in their game, their defeat against Fulham. And then, of course, Ndidi scored in the Carabao Cup again today. So kudos to Wilfred Ndidi. And then forwards, we have Alex Iwobi, who did well. 1 goal, the winner for Fulham, also created one chance in their victory against Leicester City. We had Usman Adekunle Issa, who scored 2 goals for MFK Zemplin. Two simple goals, but decent enough goals. And then we had Maxwell Effiong, who scored 3 goals for Scala IF. Maxwell Effiong, I know 3 goals. He would have made our team of the week on Eagle Striker. It's just that he plays in Faroe Islands, you know. And while I always say that league is not everything when we're creating our team of the week, we had to just side with people that played in much higher divisions. But still, he scored a hat trick, so I'm shouting him out here. Congrats on the hat trick, Maxwell Effiong. We had Taufik Ismail, 1 goal, 1 assist for Gornik Zabzer in Poland. Moses Simon, of course, scored his first goal of the season. Also created a chance for Nantes in the French Ligue 1. We had Jesse Sekidika. He was on target as well, scored a goal, created 2 chances for Saba in Azerbaijan. And then strikers, just 3 strikers that I will shout out. Abdul Rahman Taiwo, 2 goals for FK Auda in Latvia, teammate of your friend Smith Layi. But yeah, Abdurrahman Taiwo scored 2 goals. Josh Maja scored 1 goal, created 2 chances for West Brom in their victory over Stoke. And our star of the week for this past weekend was Cyril Dessers, who scored 2 goals, one very beautiful left-footed strike, and one fairly comfortable tap in for Rangers. Also created 2 goal scoring chances. Should have had an assist. Absolutely should have had an assist. If not that his teammates fluffed his lines. Fantastic display from Cyril Dessers. He was our star of the week amongst the Nigerian players who performed well this weekend. So yes, that is that on performances. Now let us get into the Super Eagles. Let us get into the Super Eagles. Let's start from the announcement that came overnight. NFF media, NFF, they are now working like vigilante. It's in the middle of the night that they are doing their work. But while I was asleep for sure at that time, and I know a lot of people were still asleep as well, the NFF announced a new head coach for the Super Eagles of Nigeria, and his name is Bruno Labbadia. Some people have been calling him Lagbaja, some people have been calling him Labalaba, but his name is Bruno Labbadia. They
They call
described
him,
him. Wait a minute.
they call him Lamba too.
Lamba. They described him as a German tactician. First of all, that's how NFF they describe everybody. Genetro was German tactician. Pesero was Portuguese tactician. Now this one is another German tactician. But yes, Bruno Labbadia takes over as the head coach of the as the head coach of the Super Eagles with immediate effect. So he's going to be the coach for the games that are coming up against Rwanda and against Benin. Of course, he's a former coach of Leverkusen, former coach of Hertha Berlin, former coach of VfB Stuttgart. I think some fun facts about the man: he was a prolific striker, and so he has full experience as well. Has never coached outside of Germany, so yeah, that's interesting. People want to see how he can perform. Of course, he has coached in the second Bundesliga, has coached in the first Bundesliga. His last job was with VfB Stuttgart, where he was there for about 4.5 months or so. Obviously, he didn't do too well, so they sacked him that time. In total, in his career, he has a 44% rather, a 44% winning rate. So again, I don't know what people are going to say, but let me just put his career stats on the screen very quickly. 487 games, 215 wins, 101 draws, 171 defeats. So 44% winning rate. So I know a lot of people will have a lot to say about this man, but Smith Layi, I'll throw it to you first. Bruno Labbadia, when you heard of this announcement, these appointments, what were your initial reactions?
I know it's gonna be, I wasn't I didn't know him at first. I just remember that I think I knew him when he was playing or so, in his playing days. So, it's not a name that excites me. It's under Johnny Man, someone that we always look for a way to I would look for the best failure, people that have failed in their profession. We bring them, want to try and bring them back. Maybe we are people that normally try to revive careers, and everything. Because the way he's going, he can't get a job in Europe again because his last job was horrible. He can only get jobs in Africa. So it's not a name that really makes me happy, Bruno Labbadia. But the issue is this: it's go because maybe it can handle the Super Eagles. But the issue is this: has the man confirmed that he's the coach?
There you go.
Did the
So
man confirm that?
this is how much we don't trust our NFF. That
Yes,
even after the NFF make announcement, we still
yes.
have to wait for him to
You,
confirm.
you have to make for him to. I was looking for, has he confirmed? I'm looking for like all these local German newspaper to see maybe they can actually will just confirm. Has he confirmed? Because I will not lie to you, the NFF appointed Jose Pacero on the Instagram and everything, but he didn't take the job until 6 months. Until when things didn't go away in the World Cup qualifier. The same thing, NFF appointed Paul Iguen. They say it was a miss. They appointed him. Sky Sports night. Sky Sports took it. Everybody, they published the story. But what happened? So let's just say that it's not audio appointment. It's the man. So, but he needs to confirm that he's the coach and say, "Oh, I've agreed," because there's no pictures for contract signing. And I don't know that there's no pictures for that. Who signed the contract? Did he email the signature to them? Was he there at the unveiling? Who met him? Who discussed with him? What was the plan? So people should not just take us for a ride. That is number one thing. Because the way it is now, I'm not saying that this is a Nigerian culture because I know what these people can do. So Bruno Labbadia is a guy that is so familiar with playing 4-3-3 formation. He likes to press high from the front, But all those 4-3-3 was in futility when he coached Stuttgart. He won 2 games in 10 matches, At least it's a better record than Pacero. Pacero won 1 game in 10. So we're going for a better handler. 2 games in 12. At least it's a better ratio now. 2 games in 12. That is 1 in 6. Pacero is 1 in 10. So at least it's better. So, it's a guy that is going to do the normal thing. Don't pay him. He's going to run away. That's it. That's it.
Okay,
Did.
okay.
Yeah.
Let me just say, the first thing is that they promised us that the coach that we're going to get would be someone that would be world class and inspire confidence. Unfortunately, the appointment we got does not inspire confidence. Am I saying he's a bad coach? No, I am not. Am I saying he won't do well? No, I am not. I really hope he does well. But obviously, I'm sure that Bruno Labbadia was probably the number one searched term on Google in Nigeria today. Everybody trying to say, who is this man? Who is this man? Who is this man? You were talking about, has he signed contracts? According to Shina Okeleji of the BBC, no contract has been signed yet. It's a verbal agreement. No contract has been signed yet. Of course, we heard so many different names over the past few weeks. So it looks like we got maybe our 8th or 9th choice. Now, who we finally get as coach. According to what the BBC is saying, BBC Africa, Jan Anderson, who they had spoken with and agreed with previously, Anderson said he cannot start the job until November. So that's the reason why that one broke off. Because Anderson said he cannot take charge immediately. Herve Renard, they said they had agreed with Herve Renard, but they said, oh yeah, come down to Nigeria, come sign your contract. The man refused to make travel plans. So that's how that one broke off. I don't know what happened with Chile. I don't know what happened with all the other ones. But they said after the whole Anderson situation, the NFF began talking with um, Poyet Karanka, so Ghost Poyet, Aito Karanka, and Bruno Labbadia, and as well as Fabio Cannavaro, former world best player. And then eventually they landed on Bruno Labbadia. Like Smith Layi said, the man is fairly a journeyman, but that's kind of like the way our coaches usually are. They're usually journeymen that have coached like maybe in like 20 years, then feed on coach like 25 teams. Or in 10 years, they've coached like 12 teams. That's usually the kind of coach that we get. So that one is on par with what we usually get. Um, but I mean, his record doesn't really leave much to be desired. One thing that I always say, I like coaches, even if it's not a big name, I like coaches that have won. And Bruno Labbadia has not won ever. The only trophy he has to his name is Hessen Cup, which is not even a major trophy, with SV Darmstadt, I think in 2005, 2006 season. I believe that was when he won that trophy. He has not won in his career. So that's why I am not really excited. It doesn't fill me with enthusiasm. It doesn't fill me with confidence. Again, even if it's not a big name, like Jose Pesero, for example, wasn't a big name, but at least Pesero had won some things in his career. And for me, I cherish that. Again, I understand that where you are coaching might make a difference. Labadia has spent his whole career coaching in Germany. When coaching the Bundesliga, you're coaching teams like Hamburger, you're coaching teams like VSL Wolfsburg, you're coaching Hertha Berlin, you're coaching Stuttgart. I agree. You don't really get a chance to win that many trophies unless you're, the coach of Bayern Munich and some of the other RB Leipzig, and the other big boys, now Leverkusen, in German Bundesliga. So I understand why it wasn't so easy for him. But it still doesn't fill me with any excitement that he has not won anything. Like Smith Layi mentioned, he likes to play a 4-3-3 formation. Typically likes to play a wide formation. I did my research today, looked at how we coach at Stuttgart, how we coached at Hertha Berlin. Likes to play wide, likes to press, mostly press on the inside, but likes to press from the front. He likes his fullbacks to overlap, and sometimes the wingers can invert and come inside. CMs occupy the wide spaces. They play like Carrileros, or Metalas. They are moving wide, covering that space rather than maybe moving forward. Typically the way his CMs like to play. But his hallmark is that he is a good defensive coach. That is how he makes his money, by setting teams up to be solid defensively. How would the Nigerian fans take to that? After Nigerian fans were complaining, somebody took them to AFCON final. They said he was defending too much, so they did not like him. Now we're bringing somebody that also likes to defend. Now, if you are if you are Bruno Labbadia, or you are his family, or you are his agent, you might tell me that, the only reason why he has been playing like that is because he has been coaching teams that are small, and those teams that are small have to defend, or else they will lose. Maybe. So we have to see how we can be expansive when playing for, or rather when coaching the Super Eagles. The only thing that I would say that makes me happy about this whole thing is that the man is known as a relegation specialist. He's the Sam Allardyce of Germany. When your team is on the brink, you just hit him up. Bruno, how you doing? Come and save us, and he will save you. He has saved teams from relegation. And even though there is no relegation, I think the Super Eagles need saving, especially in that World Cup qualifying group. We need saving. We are struggling. We are not doing well. So if the man is able to come and steady the ship, get some points on the board, and take us moving in the right direction, I'll gladly accept that. The only thing that I don't like that the NFF did is that you are now giving the man 11 days for his first two matches. If now Super Eagles don't win, Fans go come they insult the man, say, na rubbish coach. He cannot do this, he cannot do that. But you do not give the man any time to even learn his players, to learn his team. He's just going to see them in camp and he has to make it work very quickly. It would have been better if he got the job at least a month ago so that he can prepare properly. He can start talking to players. Today, now, if I don't, they send 100 text messages to everybody. I'm your new coach. This one, that one. Or maybe team coordinator would have made group chats and he would have put demand there with all the players. But for me, I think it's not easy for any coach to come in on 11 days notice to a new country that he has never been before, a new system, and then to Nigeria in particular, that with all our issues, it's not going to be easy for him. It's not World qualifiers that we're playing this next month. Is AFCON qualifiers, but still, he needs to get results to put smiles on the faces of Nigerians. So I'm really wishing him all the best. I hope that he can do well. You know, I wasn't excited when I saw it, but now that it is official, I'm going to back the coach. I'm going to support the coach. And I encourage everybody as well. Back the coach. Give the coach time to implement his ideas. Let's see how he does in September and in October. Then we can now start to really make, informed opinion about him. Smith Layi, you wanted to say something?
Yes, I just want to say that I don't know why you're surprised that they spoke to Cannavaro or to Cranker. They spoke to some top coaches too, Poet, when they said that they didn't get the Swedish man. That is what NFF would normally say. When Pasero got his this thing, it was with this man from Bilbao. What's his name again? The coach of Atletico Bilbao, former coach of Barcelona. I forgot his name. It was there. What's it called? We also have Laurent Blanc. They said these are the top coaches that also Pasero beat in that interview. That is what we normally get. So the least, miracle is always happening in the interview. The least one where we say no get any profile, now they always pass the interview. What a wonderful organization. The person who don't know anything, now they always pass the interview. Well done. When I saw that write up on BBC, I was saying that maybe you were also buying into their own idea too. For me, I think that they were just and then Ernesto Valverde, they were just saying things that they did not do. And this man, don't be surprised that they might not even want to play this man.
I really hope that there's no U-turn that is being made by anybody because it's be embarrassing. NFF don't need another failure. But for me, I just think let's give the man a little bit of backing. Let's give him support. Let's see what he can do. He has only coached in small teams before, yes. But let's see what he can do with these boys. I'm not going to judge him until I watch him and I see him properly. I've gone and done a little bit of research on his previous teams, his background, but let's see him. Let's see him first, and then we can see if he's somebody that can take us to the promised land or if there's reason for us to be scared. But yes, welcome, Bruno. Welcome to Nigeria. Welcome to the Super Eagles. Match in 11 days. We wish you all the very best. And speaking of match coming up in 11 days, the NFF also released the list of 23 players that have been called up for these matches. Now, let's be realistic. Bruno did not select the players. Somebody in the technical department has already selected the players. They've submitted the list. They've already sent the invites. They just released it today after they made the coach announcement just to create that perception. He didn't select the players. But let us get into it. In case you haven't seen, it's on your screen right now. Maduka Okoye, Amas Obasoge, Stanley Unwabali are the three goalkeepers. In defense, we have William Troost-Ekong, we have Shemi Ajayi, Calvin Bassey, Olisanda, Ola Aino, Bright Osai Samuel, and Bruno Onyemaichi. In midfield, we have Alex Iwobi, Frank Onyeka, Al Hassan Yusuf, Wilfred Ndidi, Fisayo Dele Bashiru, and Raphael Onyedika. And then in attack, we have Ademola Lookman, Samuel Chukwueze, Victor Osimhen, Moses Simon, Kelechi Iheanacho, Taiwo Awoniyi, and Victor Boniface. Smith Layi, what do you think about this Super Eagles squad?
You know, this like you said earlier, it's not Lambadia. It's not. I don't know how good we pronounce his name now. It's not Bruno Lambadia's. Is it Lambadia's news? I think when it
Labadia,
comes
yeah.
Lambadia, when it comes to Nigeria, I will tell us the full pronunciation. The way Jose Pacero taught us in AFCON. That is
Mm.
Jose Pacero. So maybe he will come out and say how we pronounce his name too. Apologies if I'm not saying it right. Apologies to Bruno Lambadia. So this list is not it's the usual suspects. For me, I think that is what the team actually would expect. But there's just few shopping and changing there. There is no slot. No, there's always a slot for home-based goalkeeper. It was usually what Olorunleke Ojo. I think it's now Amas or Basoge, of Vendor Insurance or so. So, that is one slot replaced by Amas or Basoge. And also in the in defense line too, I was hearing rumors that the guy from Cincinnati, Jose Awaza, will be part of the list, but unfortunately he didn't make it. So it's a fairly decent list. But the only issue I had with the list is that I watched a game this evening between Sevilla and Mallorca. Two Nigerian players performed there. One played 80 something minutes or 87. One played 60. The one where we play 60 just the waka for pitch. Nothing this thing. And the one where play 60 got invitation. The one where was arguably Sevilla's best player did not get invited. So I don't know who did, because the one that played 60 minutes has been playing like that for a long time.
Mm.
So I don't know the rationale behind that invitation. And also too, the star of the week. I don't know. Maybe the guy needs to kill a cow for him to get a Super Eagles call up. Anytime we come out here and blast him, next weekend we shut up. Just like Jackson said that. Mikel said that Jackson. So for me, it's not a bad list. It's just those two. I just think that Deza should be there instead of Yanacho, and also Educate should be somewhere around the list. I think 25 will have been a very good list.
Mm. I will say I agree with you that is a good list in general. Most of the players that are here deserve to have been there. Like you mentioned, Amas Obasoge just coming in to take the complimentary MPFL slots. But some interesting ones. Olisanda, were you surprised to see Olisanda there?
I'm surprised to see because of the person that drafted the list. So I knew that he's a big fan. I don't know the name of the person, but I know he's a big fan of. The last time that the boy got invited to the national team was when that man was in charge of the national team. So for you to know that he really believes in him. For me, he's not a bad player. He's not actually a bad player, but I think that all those things will be over soon. If Bruno Lambadia comes, I think there's going to be a lot of fair selection in this team. And
Okay.
also the Tintella too. I was surprised.
Some people feel like Nathan Teller should have been there as well. For me, I wasn't too surprised that Teller missed out, but I also would not have minded if Teller was part of this team. In midfield, the usual suspects, it will be Onyeka, Ndidi, Onyedika. Dele Bashiru has now kind of become a mainstay in the midfield. But I want to talk about one player, Alhassan Yusuf. So you spoke about when he moved to the USA that his Super Eagles career might be, over before it even really got started. But he's still part of this team. Did that surprise you? We can't hear you.
Oh, sorry, apologies for that. That didn't surprise me. The reason why he's there is what I cannot discuss on air. Yes, because some people are not there. That is the only one that is fit to be there. That is why he's there. So I can't discuss that on air. because he's gonna be, he's gonna incite different things. There's a reason why he's there. But all those things could be cleared by what? By Bruno Lambadia.
So it's like, yeah, you're making some serious allegations here
No,
without
I just said it.
without making any allegation.
Yes,
Because you're implying some things that people are going to start reading meaning into. Um, but I mean, let's not forget that Alassane Yusuf is not a bad player, and even that USA that he moved to, he never started to play for there. So
Did he
maybe
play
he
in
had,
Antwerp when he was there? This last
what do
season
you mean?
before? Did he play in Antwerp? He
Yeah,
was
he
on the
was playing
bench
for
too.
no, he was playing for Antwerp.
He was on the bench.
No. I'm pretty sure he was playing.
How many games did he start? I
Let
think he was
me
on the bench.
let me
No,
see
but
if I
no
can
Nigerian was starting. Antwerp.
let me let me see if I can find it very quickly. I
Yeah.
know that after he got injured, yes, his
No, I'm
playing
talking about
time.
this season. How
Oh,
many games did he start?
this season is just new now.
Yes,
If
before he left.
if they were talking about selling him, maybe that's why they did not play him now. May no go injured, maybe the assets no spoil, you know. But I know that last season, he was a
Mm-hmm.
regular for Antwerp last season.
Mm-hmm.
42 games played in all competitions for them last season.
Yeah, no,
Uh,
this thing, I'm not gonna check. I'm just checking about it because he was sitting on the bench this season. Just let me check that, please.
no, but
The first three games.
this
The first
season
three games.
is just because he was on the move.
Okay, maybe.
I think it's because he was on the move.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it'll be interesting to see if Bruno continues to select him. Um, so yeah, see the first three games this season, he played 6 minutes in the first game. He was on the bench in the second game. He was not in the squad for the third game, and then he left. But again, I think it's because he was on the move. But let's see how Bruno selects. Midfielders are not that many that are top midfielders for Nigeria, to be honest. So there's always going to be some room for selecting or not selecting somebody else. But let us see how that goes. I think the rest of the midfielders, I'm perfectly fine with. Not too much to discuss there. In attack, Lookman, Chukwueze is maybe a little bit shaky. Maybe could that have been Educate Sports? Who knows? Chukwueze, of course, is a regular in the Super Eagles squad, but he has not been impressive for Nigeria in recent times. He has also not been impressive for his club as well in the past season. This new season, we had high hopes because of his preseason. The season started, nothing to talk about yet. It doesn't mean that he won't still have a good season, but so far this season, nothing to really talk about. Just two games. Just two games. Um, so maybe that could have been Educate's opportunity. Who knows? Osimhen, of course, Osimhen is going to be there. Even though Osimhen will get his first minutes of the season with Nigeria because instead they sort out in club issue. But at least by the time camp opens, he will know where he's going, whether he's staying in Napoli or he's going to Chelsea or to Saudi. But yeah, we have to wait and see how that one goes. Moses Simon, of course, scored a goal this past weekend, got injured at the AFCON, but we know that Simon is a regular for the Super Eagles, and he's somebody that is important for the Super Eagles, whether or not people like it. He's important. He does well for the team. Um, and then we have Taiwo Awoni. I think some people disagree with Awoni's selection here. Some people think he deserves it. Some people think he doesn't. Awoni, of course, we know has always, is one of those players that unfortunately tends to always get injured every season. So he will miss some games. He will come back, play some games. Because of his injury issues, it seems like he's now currently second choice striker for Nottingham Forest as well. But we know what Awoni can do. And yeah, some
Okay,
people
can you say
think,
something about the
yeah,
Awoni issue?
yeah, go on.
The strikers that were invited for the qualifier against Benin Republic and Saga, who among them delivered? No,
I mean,
I'm just trying to say because there's high probability that Victor might not be around in this game.
hmm, hmm,
And you also need a striker as a super good striker that can actually come in and do something.
hmm.
For me, I would have loved Victor to be excused from this qualifier and bring in Siri Desas.
Excuse for what?
No, because he's still sorting out. He has not played preseason. No, he didn't still kick the ball. When you show one of his pictures now before we were discussing. Say that's how you feel. That's how he's feeling too. So that's how I'm feeling too. That's how everybody here is feeling about that transfer. So I just think that I need to take. He might be moved to a different country. Let him just relax. Eh? don't worry. You will come for the October November game. That's my opinion. I just think that
Okay.
Desas can come in and come and see again, because if you don't call him now, they won't call him again. No, like Desas.
Mm.
So for me, I just think that Victor should have been rested. For me, I think Awoniyi is someone that, if he's fit, should still be invited, because it's like someone that has delivered for Nigeria in his spike. So that's my opinion. Because if you go and call Polo Noashu, he has not played this season. Has he even played? Terry Murphy is out with ACL.
Yeah, it's out.
Uh, Victor Boniface has not done nothing for Nigeria before. Nothing. Has done nothing. He has been playing well for Leverkusen. He has done nothing for Super Eagles. If he likes, he should go on Twitter again and hit me. He has not done anything for Nigeria. He needs to start doing something for Nigeria.
Mm.
Uh-huh.
Okay, okay. For me, I say I think if Murphy was here, maybe Awoni might not have been called up, but Murphy is obviously injured. Onuachu cannot get called up right now, I think. I disagree with you on the Osimhen thing. Osimhen is still our best player. It's not our fault that you and your agents are not agreeing club with somebody. That's none of my business. Come and play. Come and play. Maybe he will not be as sharp as other players, so maybe he won't be able to play 90 minutes, or maybe he won't start. I don't know, depending on what the coach decides. But for me, I don't agree that they should excuse him to focus on his future at club level. No, you had more than enough time to figure it out. By the time the camp opens, the window would have been closed. So you should have figured it out by then. Come and help your country. Your country needs you. Your country needs you. And for me, I think Cyril Dessers, based on his form so far this season, I think Dessers was a good shout for a chance. Of course, when last time we saw Dessers play for Nigeria, people were not really pleased with his performance. But I still think that he's probably not even probably so far this season. Naim be the most informed
In the Scottish
so
League.
far this season. Yeah, yeah, I know. Well, you're saying in the Scottish League now. When he first joined the Rangers, now you they tell me say na pathway to Premier League. When I was telling you that I don't think it's pathway, now you they tell me say that na pathway. But I'm just saying, so far this season, he's our most informed striker. Yes, it's in the Scottish
Mm-hmm.
League, but so far now they play the most, now they score.
Mm-hmm.
Boniface, of course, I think Boniface would have been there regardless of the situation.
Mm-hmm.
But let's see how it goes. Overall, Ian Acho's one is a very dicey one. I don't really think Ian Acho has done much for club or for country recently. Like you said, even today's game for Sevilla, he wasn't great. Maybe they didn't feed him the ball as much, but he didn't have a good game like that. And for Nigeria, he hasn't really been having good games for us like that. But na senior man. His job is just to come there and be, senior presence. When they bring him on, he'll probably be on the bench when they bring him on. Just run around slowly, just be linking up play. Big boy football.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think Desa's probably the biggest shout in attack. In defense, I would say probably Igor Ogbu could have maybe gotten a shout. But the thing is that as they selected Olusanda, they've pleased many people that feel like they shouldn't neglect Olusanda because he's in South Africa. But at the same time, there's also people that feel like Igor Ogbu deserves a chance. So you can't satisfy everybody. So I wouldn't really complain too much about the list. Let's see how they go and perform, and hopefully, we're able to get a positive result. Hopefully, we're able to get a positive result. But I'll say the selection is pretty much what I would have expected, with maybe one or two additions. I want to ask you a question, Smilai.
So comment. I don't know, maybe go into the comment, because some people they have accused me of something here in the comments. Maybe you go. I don't know when you're going to go to the comments.
I'll go to the comments in a bit, but I want to
Yeah,
ask you something.
yeah,
So, Alex Iwobi,
yeah.
we see him playing for Fulham.
Mm-hmm.
So far, he has started this season well.
Mm-hmm.
Scored a goal in their last game
Mm-hmm.
from that flank, from the
Mm-hmm.
left flank.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think maybe Nigeria should also try to utilize him from that position? I know we have Simon. I know we have Lookman. There's competition for places. You
Mm-hmm.
probably say that they are better wingers than him. But
Mm-hmm.
what do you think we can do to really get the best out of Alex Iwobi when he's playing for the Super Eagles?
Play him on the right or left, but
Hmm.
unfortunately, is the most creative player in Super Eagles. That's another thing. He's
Hmm.
the guy that can play the last pass. Like mostly can play the last pass. Or he can do pre-assist. So that's the reason why he kept on playing that position. But maybe if Dele Bashiru can, be consistent enough, maybe that one can allow us to push Iwobi to the left. Or if we get some players that can actually play from that attacking position, we push Iwobi to the left or to the right. For me, I think Iwobi's future is, I don't want to be talking about a 28-year-old. I don't know, maybe he's 28 or 27 now. 27-year-olds saying that what's his best position. I think we should be done with that now because in fact, it's going towards his end of his career, as people may see it. So I think we should already figure out where best to actually use Alex Iwobi. For me, if you want Iwobi to be productive for us, I think Iwobi is better play on the right. The left might be too stuck, I think, on the right. Because our right is so blank. There was time that we were playing Anacho, there was zero. We once played Chukwueze. Nothing was coming out of it. So I just think that Iwobi can play on that position.
Okay. Let me just quickly go to the comments, and then of course I'll post the link shortly for people to start coming on to share their thoughts. Um, okay, so somebody says Ajayi again, Lord save us. So this person is not happy with the selection of Shemi Ajayi in defense. Monsu Ogungbade says, whenever you say Lusanda, that's the handwriting of Eguavon. Oluyimide says Smith really understands NFF in and out.
No, I'm part of them. I'm even going for Super Eagles job.
Victor Balogun says no Igogu, I will not be there. Okay. James Oboji says Nathan Teller with like how many exclamation marks is this? Like 6 of them. So he feels like Teller was snubbed. Chinwoke says Ejuke should be there. Author says inviting Awoni, who has done nothing for 6 months now, ahead of Cyril Dessers is crazy. John Jones says Teller, Okonkwo, Akpom, Ejuke should all be there. XXX says, come on, let's be fair to Iheanacho. He played today as a striker, but he didn't get enough supply from his teammates. James Oboji says Nathan Teller over Samu every time. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that because Teller plays as a wing back for his club, and let's not pretend like Teller has amazing games every week. No, not really. But he's a good player. I agree. I don't know. It's a dicey one. Adeogun says, I think when the new coach settles in, all these guys that ought to be in the team will get call-ups eventually. Sid says, Alassane is Northern Quota. Smith Layi, we will say it's a Northern Quota, period. Okay, if you say so. Yeah, I don't know. May they not come fight me.
It's not me that said that too.
Let me see. CO says they keeping Ejuke the best creative attacker in the Super Eagles at the moment. James Ogboji said yes, he should focus on his club, avoid getting injured. Talking about Victor Osimhen. Victor says no Igbo, no Jordan Torunariga, no Gabriel Shaw. These guys are more quality than what they called up. Torunariga, I don't know. Maybe you say Osho, maybe you say Obu. I don't know Torunariga. But let me see. Victor says, stop mentioning Dessers. I prefer even Onwachu and Gift Urban over Dessers. Okay. My space place says Dessers care. Is the guy paying you? Dessers seems like a nice guy, but he has not done anything to keep getting called up. Okay. Let me see. Adeogun says Dessers scored in our last friendly. What has Onuachu done? If Dessers had the same chances, he would have surpassed Onuachu. Samuel says Chuba Akpom should have been invited. Okay. I think XXX says don't forget that the 2 games are must win. This is not the time for experiments with new players. Let us go with the Devils that we know.
It's not the most.
It's not must win, but is please win. I'll say it's please win. Um, okay. that's it. I'm going to post the link now for anybody that wants to come on to come and share their thoughts. But first of all, I had invited somebody, a friend of mine, a fellow Nigerian football, what's the word, aficionado, someone that loves the Super Eagles, loves Nigerian football. And I wanted to get his thoughts on the Super Eagles head coach situation. And then we can also talk about the squad um, that was just selected for these games against Rwanda and Benin Republic. I'm talking about Olu of the Nigeria Football Weekly podcast. Olu, welcome to the Niger FC podcast.
Hello, everybody. Lovely to be on here. Always a pleasure. I've been seeing all the great work you guys have been doing, so keep it up. And it's always a pleasure to talk Nigeria, whether good or bad.
Yes, thank you very much, Olu. So yeah, I'll let you jump right into it. So we discussed that over the night, they are working like vigilante in the NFF, but in the middle of the night, they just give announcements, boom, when people were still asleep. I don't know if I don't know if they wanted to keep it low key, or maybe they thought Nigerians would wake up and be excited. But Bruno Labbadia, German coach, German tactician, as they described him, has been appointed as the new Super Eagles coach. Smith Layi said we should not get excited until the coach himself confirms it. NFF have said their own, but he said, he said until the coach should confirm it himself, we don't know because BBC says that no contract has been signed as of yet.
Uh,
Yeah. But what do you think about Bruno Labbadia? How did that make you feel? Are you excited?
Great question, guys. To be honest, when I heard Bruno Labbadia, my first thought was, hallelujah, they've hired a coach, any serious organization, 2.5 months in the wilderness. No communication, just leading us astray, left, right, rumors, and all that. So, at the very least, we thank God. Look at me, I'm now turning into a religious person saying we thank God because they've announced the manager. Something I should be done ages ago. So, at the very least, I thought, okay, they've hired a manager, and I know Bruno Labbadia's name from just the past. To be fair, today's worked out well because I was even going to record yesterday, but Carnival in London. So, I said, let me just wait till today. They now announced new coach and squad list. The best thing I can say is I would say Labadia is a bit of like the German Sean Dyche, Sam Allardyce. No. Let's be honest now.
Sean Sean Dash though.
I'm not even trying to be rude. All I'm just trying to say is he's been someone who's been hired to like when a team is in crisis, they need to stave off relegation or they need to survive or oh, who can we call to save the day? They call up Labadia. I mean, when you look at the clubs he's managed, or even like his record for those teams, you know, I think it's fairly clear. Once or twice he took the team to Europe. I think when it was at Leverkusen, he went to DFB Pokal final. But generally, you can see the kind of teams he's managed: Stuttgart, Wolfsburg. Mid-table. It's still Germany, so we'll say the rep of Germany comes into play here as well, where we're kind of just hoping that there's some defensive solidity. From what I can read and what I can see about him, that tends to be the way he plays: defensive solidity, tactical nous, discipline. So hopefully we could get that. When I say discipline, I mean tactical discipline. I know Nigerians like to talk about Osimhen and discipline. I don't care. He's our star player. Next time, the NFF should do things the right way, and they won't get stuff like that. But on a more positive note, at least we know that, at least from the outside, it looks like when there's a foreign coach, the NFF might be less interference, although I'm sure all of you on here, maybe you've discussed already. We know the NFF picked that list. There's no way as Labadia picked it. I slapped his name on it. I told him, go and prosecute the games in 10 days' time. Be a miracle worker. So those are my initial thoughts. I think my biggest worry is he's never managed a team with this amount of attacking talent. Mm. And when you're a club manager who's used to having your players every day on the pitch, you can really like impact your ideas. That's where my slight worry comes. Look, whether we like it or not, despite the results we've had post AFCON, Nigeria is still expected to dominate certain games they play. And we cannot accept anything less. You have to do certain things. So that's the one thing I want to see. Obviously, I even just recorded Nigerian Football Weekly now, so some of it I'm downloading here. But Nigerians, give this man time. Don't judge him next week. Don't give him the Finidi treatment, even though I think Finidi was not right. Let's see how we prosecute these two games. I'm hoping that we can see some objectivity in the team selection. I've been hearing you guys for the past 20 minutes, so I've heard a few of the discussions around team players. I just want to talk that desert story. Don't get me started. I have my thoughts, but let's see what he could do. I hope that he just needs to win. Just get some positive energy going again. I've never seen a team go to AFCON final and then have a disastrous 6 months after. It's almost like for the first time, I'm like, did somebody curse us? Like, what's going on here? So let's just get that stability back. Hopefully, with these tactical nuance and at least him doing things objectively, I'm hoping we will not see the Ahmed Musas of the world come back onto a squad list. A player's not necessarily earning their minutes to come to the national team. But I'm very intrigued. We know I've heard he's a bit tactically flexible, but he's a 4-3-3 guy. So let's see what happens next week. But we, of course, have to beat Benin, and our first game is against Ghana. So I think that would be quite interesting to watch. But look, beggars are not choosers. There's been no manager for a while. We're just excited there's someone at the helm. We'll see how he does, but the jury's out, and I'm quite excited. I just want to see what can happen.
Yeah. At this point, we would even if not Smith Layi they announce, we go to rejoice. Say at least the announced person.
Can't
You
even
know,
say Mooney because Smith Lion knows what he's talking about. Some of the stuff he just said today, I'm like, you know what? Especially your
yeah.
desert point, Smith. Like I'm telling
Mm,
you, I'm with you on that table, but
mm.
the rest,
But
some of it.
well, let me ask you a question. So, um, looking at the teams that he's managed, he's been coaching relegation threatened teams to mid-table teams in
Mhm.
Germany. So for the most part, he has played more of a counter-attacking style of play. Compact in defense, try to take your opportunities. For Hertha Berlin, for Stuttgart, that's kind of the way he did. Um, we saw Jose Pesero, the last Super Eagles. Well, Finidi was the last one. The coach at the AFCON. He played similar, compact defensively, hit on the counter, take your chances. And even though he got to the AFCON final, got the silver medal, Nigerian fans were saying, oh, he needs to go. He's not the right one for the job. He's too negative, blah, blah, blah. Now, do you think that a coach like Labadia, who has typically played that style, would he switch things up for the Super Eagles because he has so much, talent in attack? Or do you think he will keep the same thing that he's been doing for all these years? And how would Nigerian fans handle that if he comes and plays a counter-attacking style of play?
Great question. To be fair, that question is exactly one of the things that intrigues me about this coach. I even said it. It's almost like carbon copy of Pesero. Now it's all well and good when this works in like a 6-week tournament format where you're gonna play some people that are your rivals or your level. But ultimately, it's such a short-term solution. When you're Nigeria, whether you like it or not, people can say you're no longer a giant. Oh, it's not by fine Nike jerseys or whatever. But the truth of the matter is 95% of the teams you face on the African continent will play a defensive game against Nigeria. They will sit back and hit on the counter. Just from pure respect of the quality of your players. So whether Labadia likes it or not, he has to change. He has to find something to adapt. He needs to figure it out. Maybe we could draw inspiration from the one or two times when he coached a team to a European qualification spot in the Bundesliga. But to be honest, one of my biggest worries is exactly what you've mentioned. What can he do from a flexibility perspective? Because he has to take the game to opponents. The likes of Benin and Rwanda, they're not going to let Nigeria play on the counter attack and say, oh, we're going to try and break down a team with Ndidi and Oyedika and Ekong at the back. Like, it's just very stupid of them. But at the same time, we know that one of our biggest problems, especially under Pesero and Genoro, was sometimes not having that offensive like structure or discipline to create enough chances against these lesser teams. So I'm not sure how Labadia is going to do it. I think for a lot of us, there's a lot of unknowns, but he definitely has to change his structure. Look, you cannot play that kind of football. One thing to even mention, his last coaching job where he got sacked from Stuttgart. The next season, Stuttgart finished second in the Bundesliga. Stuttgart are about to play in the Champions League. So the jury's out for me when it comes to that one. But he has to change his approach. There is no way he's going to last, especially with we don't have any friendly games till next year. It's literally qualifiers, qualifiers, qualifiers. And then there's World Cup qualifiers from March where we've already put ourselves in the lurch where we cannot even afford to. In fact, you can't even drop 1 point. So I don't know how he's going to do it. We'll watch very keenly next week. But he has to play an attacking style of football. Like, it's a given. I'm sorry. It just has to be.
All right, Smith Layi, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, he also said that he also played three at the back, before when he was in Wolfsburg, but he chopped 8 goals in total in 2 games. So he changed back to 4-3-3. So he's a guy that you just have to, I don't know what to expect. Let's just look at it. And about team sitting back. See, when we go to at the Amaro Stadium in Kigali, I'm pretty sure that Rwanda will not sit back for Nigeria. They will going at those days when teams just think that Super Eagles, let's sit back, soak the pressure. In Uyo, they might sit back. But in that Amaro Stadium in Kigali, I don't think they will sit back. I think they will come at Nigeria. So, well, I just hope that it won't be ending before it started. That is it.
But even with what you said about Rwanda, I love that you raised the point. I've listened in the comments even before I joined because we but Rwanda, correct me if I'm wrong, aren't they top of our World Cup qualifying group right now?
They're third.
Or third, same number of points as Benin and South Africa, or just one.
But I think inferior goals difference.
So they all have 7 points. We're even lucky with this our group. I've got it in front of me now.
Mm-hmm.
No, Smith Layi, sorry. Rwanda are top of the World Cup group.
They're top?
Yeah. They are top, yeah.
Okay. So that's the same points.
It's literally
same points, yeah, but
points. And I love that you even mentioned that, Smith, because honestly, I forgot that they were on offensive. I think they even beat South Africa in one of their games, or was it
2-0?
They
beat Africa 2-0. They went after them and they beat them.
So even from that perspective, we know that Super Eagles cannot sit back while Rwanda attack. Yes, you could play counter attack sometimes, but think about all the big games we watch between heavyweights. There's game momentum. 20 minutes, you sit back. It depends on the momentum, who's ahead, who needs to rest, what's going on. Think about like an Arsenal-Liverpool game. Okay, that's not a good example. Arsenal-Tottenham, before we start beating their asses every day. When there's like 4-4, 5-3, 5-2, you're just like, everyone's just trying to attack. But even with that point said, he has to hit the ground running. And you know one thing I love about football? The football gods now said your first game is against Benin again, against Genoro, after you've lost to them. So I'm sorry, no excuses. Like, what's that? Our chairman that we never hear from, Gusau. It's on you, mate. Better win this match. I'm not doing another review talking about, unfortunately, the Super Eagles. Already missed the last World Cup. Next one is in America. 48-team World Cup, 9 African teams. In fact, if we don't make that World Cup, they should change the Super from our name. It should be Green Eagles. So let's go back to the 80s. Because I'm telling you, like, enough. You can't be looking at a squad on paper that's one of the best, if not the best in Africa. But yet, all we're doing is lamentations, both from those of us who watch the team and then from those that will go back to lazy narratives of it's because they didn't call home base player. Oh, it's because this person did not play. Oh, And I had someone say that's us. That was like 2 years ago, mate. Like, that don't count, So I'm very intrigued. I'm excited. We're all passionate about our national team. And these are the things that, get us off our seats, so we'll see how it goes. I love what Smith said about Iwobi as well. That was funny because I do agree to an extent that 28, we should know where his position is. But think about every current national team that we respect, apart from the so-called big boys. When you think about Morocco right now, or who played well at Euros, Austria, or think about the Colombians of the world. Colombia made the Copa America final. Let's be honest, they could have won. You see a settled team and a settled structure. Forget all this. It's an international team. They only have 5 days to go. What is your plan? Can you stick to it? Are you going to play 4 at the back? Abasi and Ekong, your first choice center backs? No problem. Do you decide that Oyedika is now the anointed midfield? Make a choice. Isaiah Dele Bashiru, in my opinion, is the manna from heaven. I know I've been raving on about him. What I saw on that guy's debut in Rome, in that place where even some of their fans might be racist to him, first Serie A game when he was in League One 2 years ago, scored on his debut for the Super Eagles wearing number 10. Let me tell you, some people they're just ready. I don't care if he's like, you know what I mean? We all thought it was his brother that would get in there all those years ago. But guess what? Look at what we're seeing now. So, what is the settled structure? Are you going to play one striker up top, or are you going to play two with the second striker and let Lookman play like he plays for Gasperini? Figure it out. But we cannot keep calling up 4 strikers and 5 strikers when you play one and they shoe on Iheanacho. Iheanacho is almost turning into the new Ame Musa. Like they just call him up for vibes. They used to call Awaziem to come and bring the vibes and be doing a gist. If anyone listens to my podcast this week, I have nothing against Awaziem, but that guy had business in the national team. So settle on your structure.
AyoT.
Play your best players. How many times do we have to look at these things? Yes, Simon will be called up. We even respect him for what he did. Chukwueze and Lookman, you agree that okay, these are young both they're working with. Chukwueze has not had a good game in a while, and even us who track, shout out to Eagles Tracker. Milan, he needs something to break for him. But why are you calling up 4 strikers when you play one? Because you're not a senior man. I think I haven't heard Ayo say it. Teller is waiting. Teller, if you bring in Teller and you make him change national 22 years old, look at what we just said about settled style and structure. You call up Teller today, you play him 2 minutes. You sit down on the bench, you again, go back to Bayer Leverkusen. He will not get called up the next round of fixtures. But you expect him to feel part of the group or to feel like, I'm invested. And he deserves to be called up. He's not slave call-ups like they're giving Musa although the last 3 years. He now play 1 minute. They will say captain. Everybody will post Super Eagles captain, someone that has clubless. In the last 2 years, how many games has he played? So I just want to see the right structures in place, because if we don't have one, we cannot be debating for the next 2 years and the last 2 years. How did the Super Eagles play? What is that? Then you now hear one old man come and tell us the Super Eagles used to play with wingers, fast wingers in the 90s. That's Super Eagles ball. 2024, mate. We have to figure new things out. But Labadia figured this thing out. I don't care how.
I just want to like back him up on on one thing about Teller. Akpom is another example. He spent 2 years changing nationality from England to Nigeria. It's like he went to school, certificates drop, see job, see what to do. He has been performing well. For me, I just think that he deserves to wear the green, green. Akpom. So, in my opinion, I know that AyoT, you said that, but for me, I just think that he should be called up. Because, I just think he should be called up. He's not playing for a small club. In my opinion, I just think he should be called up.
I think Akpom is a victim of his success coming at the wrong time. If you really look at his record, he's had 3 okay seasons in the last 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
But one really standout one, which was in the championship when he was the player of the year.
Yeah.
Last season, he moved to Ajax.
Mm-hmm. Probably
could not have expected it, but he moved to the worst Ajax side in the last 50 years.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean for Ajax to be finishing what, 6th? No, when the fuck did they? Excuse my French, sorry, I don't know if
yeah.
Excuse my French. But Akpom, and he's 28 years old. Honestly, I think he's just a victim of bad timing. Because even with what he does, I wouldn't believe he's as good as the alternatives. Especially because Fisayo has now come through. If we're trying to say, because I know people like to talk about Akpom's versatility, he could play a second striker as a cam. Sorry, Fisayo has washed me. I'm all in, full stocks. Yeah. So Akpom, I hear it to an extent, but if we're being brutally honest, and I see some of the comments around Akpom, he does not deserve to get called up. Like he started the season all right, but like, man.
But you mentioned.
Hey, wait. Sorry, I just saw one big piece of blasphemy that I want to address. Somebody here said Akpom is better than Terry Murphy.
No, that's right.
Murphy is injured right now, so he's not even in the equation. But please, let's not use his absence to disparage him and to talk bad about Murphy. In my own opinion, I've said this thing so many times. In my opinion, Murphy is the best finisher that we have. If you now look at overall strikers that we have, I
Mm-hmm.
think Murphy is top three. Osimhen, Boniface, Murphy. Decide who is one, two, and three. That's up for debate. Well, maybe one is not up for debate. Decide between two and three. But hey, nobody should say Akpom better than Murphy. Murphy is a proper striker. Akpom has not even played at the level that Murphy is playing at right now. So because that's one thing I always find interesting. Somebody is doing well in the Eredivisie. Fine, give him his credit for doing well because it's not easy to do well anywhere. But that does not now mean that maybe because he has scored 20 goals and somebody in Ligue 1 has only scored 15, it doesn't necessarily mean that that guy is doing better. So I just
But
wanted to address that. But Smith, like, go
sorry,
on.
I just want to like so because I don't want this argument to linger too much, but it's just as being fair to because when you mentioned Terry Murphy now, apart from the South African game in the semi-finals of the AFCON, mention one game that Terry Murphy played well for Nigeria.
He's been a bit of a victim of like all the chop and changing though, and all the certain like structures. I remember him playing a few friendlies here or there. I'm not sure I was going to play. One thing, I think you both have excellent points. Smith Layi, in terms of his performance for the Super Eagles, I agree. Murphy has not necessarily shown yet.
No.
But I guess in Terra Murphy's defense, yeah, in his defense, I would say,
Ayo, let me defend him, I beg. I
okay,
want to
go on.
defend it for you. Terra Murphy is the truth. Sorry, my laptop's about to go off, so I was trying to use that to get a charger. Let me tell you, Terra Murphy is the most disrespected Super Eagles player we have. All these guys, I'm looking at the chats. Yes, they watched one Super Eagles game. This is the typical thing with Nigerians. They won't watch the club form. Let me tell you, Terra Murphy's biggest problem is moving to Nice or not choosing the right moves. I watched Terra Murphy 4 years ago score 15 goals, 14 goals in League One for Lorient. Guys, Lorient is the Premier League equivalent of like Watford. Let's just put it like this: West Brom, all these yo-yo teams that love to yo-yo with their life. But every time he gets a chance, let me tell you, Murphy always scores. Nice was the worst movers of his career because all you United fans getting excited over Sir Jim. Go and check his record at Nice. Let me tell you, Nice last year started very well, but the way they tailed off, there's no reason why Murphy should have only scored 11 goals last year. I've just seen an argument about Awoni ahead of Murphy. That's fair. Awoni is a very good player. I will never take that away from you. A bit different. But those are Kogum. You see, I'm even so annoyed. I was thinking about Akbom. Akbom over Murphy. Nah, let's not be disrespectful, please. And let me tell
See,
you, Murphy had a good run in the Super Eagles. You'll see.
see, and what I wanted to say is that I think Smith, like, for you to throw the question like that and say how many good games has he had, is a bit unfair to him because the first question you would ask is how many minutes has he even played for the Super Eagles?
Mm-hmm.
Most of his appearances for Super Eagles, 15 minutes here, 20 minutes there, things like that. Maybe they bring him on when we're struggling and then he's supposed to come and be the savior. It's not very easy. When he has had minutes, other than the Mexico and Ecuador friendlies that we played, was in the USA the other time.
Mm-hmm.
When he has had minutes, he has done pretty well. Again, opposition might not have been the strongest, but 71 minutes played against Sao Tome, 2 goals. 72 minutes
Eh?
played against, yeah?
Yeah, I know,
No,
Saltome.
wait now. 72 minutes played against Algeria, 1 goal. So it's not 75 minutes played against Mozambique, 1 goal. Those are the goals that he has scored for Nigeria. But again, if the only time that he actually gets opportunity to play is against the lower ranked teams, we cannot now use that one as a nod against him. When we
Mm-hmm.
play against South Africa, when we play against Cameroon, all those top teams, play him. And then if he doesn't perform, say, oh, he cannot perform. But if the only time he gets to start is when we're playing against Sao Tome, we're playing against Mozambique, and he does well in those games, then I have to give him his credit for it because it's not everyone that does well even in those quote unquote games against smaller teams. So for me, I think before we can say, oh, he doesn't do well for the Super Eagles or he hasn't done well for the Super Eagles, he needs to have had a lot more minutes. In the last two World qualifiers, he played 10 minutes against South Africa. He played 51 minutes against Benin. Before then, at the AFCON, he played a total of 14 minutes. what's he supposed to do with 14 minutes? But even in that game against South Africa, he still made a difference when he came on. So for me, I think he doesn't get enough minutes for us to really say much about him. In total, 797 minutes. He has scored 4 goals for the Super Eagles.
Mm.
Minutes per goal is not the worst in the world. So that's what I would say about Terry Murphy. We're already 2 hours into this, so we kind of have to start wrapping up. Olu, let me ask you. So for the Super Eagles squad, I'm sure you've seen the squad list already. You
Oh, yeah.
know, a certain few players that were contentious. Somebody said he missed 2 sitters in the World Qualifiers.
That's your guy,
Osimhen,
Henry.
Osimhen missed many sitters at the AFCON. Does it suddenly make Osimhen a bad striker? So there's no striker that does not miss chances. So if it's by that, Osimhen too missed sitters at the AFCON. Is Osimhen not a good striker anymore because of that?
Also,
Okay.
we can always do that. Someone is in the comments saying, how long did Watkins play for England? Let me tell you, Watkins scoring against Netherlands is exactly the same situation as Murphy winning the penalty against South Africa.
Against
If he didn't get fouled, you would have said Murphy scored in the AFCON semi-finals. What we do here?
So at the end of the day, there's like people always try to find an example that helps, but you can always find these
Always,
examples and you
always.
can always counter them. But yeah, I wanted to ask so about the Super Eagles squad. Um, I mean, overall, do you think it's a fair selection of players?
Oh yeah, thankfully, like I said, I recorded today, so I've had a good look. It's one of the more recent squad lists where I don't really have any grips, if I'm being honest. Like there are a few things here or there, like I think I heard you guys earlier, like some players you could say are a bit unlucky to be missed. Um, just to summarize, goalkeepers, I have no issue there. Obviously, I'm sure you guys have discussed. I'm not sure who this Amos Omorege is. I haven't looked at Eagles tracker. I don't know
Sorry,
if you
see,
met
the thing
Amas
is, yes, it's Amas Obasoge, but the
Obasugi.
NFF put the wrong name on their this thing. I don't know how they made that
At
mistake.
least we know NFF will never change. They will always be useless. Good. Someone cannot check a list before it goes out. I was even thinking, is it Owen Goodman or who's that? I now found out the Abos Sogi guy. I said it must be this guy. Some things will never change. Center backs, I have no issues. I heard you talk about Lisanda. It's nice to see him get a call up. But if we're being brutally honest, I can even say, okay, Basi, Ajayi, and Ekong, because of AFCON performances, they are the first three in the pecking order now, no problem. But Igor Ugbo, I heard you mention it as well. That one, I don't like it. You cannot say you don't call Igor Ugbo. I don't know what else this guy has to do. Obviously, he may not get to Champions League because they're 2-0 down and they play Lille tomorrow. But I think it could have been a toss-off between Ugbo and Nda. I don't like to speculate too much about Akpoguma because the season has just started. And Akpoguma started for Hoffenheim. But I know there's always been some kind of question about his commitments, which I personally think is rubbish. But for some reason, it always feels like he's being slighted. So Akpoguma or Ugbo a bit unlucky, but I'm so glad Awaziem is gone. Please, if any of you like Awaziem, we're not here for vibes. We're here to win games. You now be giving us a Shakiti Bobo doing all the moves. Nah, go away. Go and enjoy America. Good for you. Tanimo, we'll revisit later again. I don't know. There's no MPFL players in this squad except this goalkeeper. Good. So MPFL Warriors, relax. Let's pray for Enugu Rangers to make CAF Champions League so that we can have one representative for the first time since 2019. By God's grace, amen. I'm praying for them. Fullbacks, I have no problems. You know, Aino can cover both flanks. We know he always plays right back until Zedu Sanusi comes back. I still believe our weakest position in Super Eagles is left back. I mean, when I see Jamil Collins call up, it just make me sad. Even Oyemachi, let's be honest, any other position, he wouldn't be playing for the Super Eagles. No offense. He's all right. He ain't no Zedu Sanusi, So I have no problems there. Midfield, a part of me felt like Aribo was slightly unlucky to not get called up because this is the first time he's actually now starting games in the Premier League for Southampton. And he hasn't looked too terrible. But am I really mad at the list? Alassane Yusuf and Frank Oyeka are still surviving off AFCON juice. That's the truth. Because Oyeka has not played for Brentford barely. In fact, since AFCON, we can count how many minutes he has played, And Alassane Yusuf, when you move to MLS at 23, I mean, I'm sure you have more insider knowledge as the one and only Eagles striker, but that move made me so sad. I was like, why? But maybe there's other reasons. I don't know. America, like I don't know. I don't want to. I heard something about quotas, but I liked Alassane Yusuf. But I don't believe a player going to the MLS should be called up for the national team. I'm sorry. We have to treat our national team with respect. Unless you're Ekong, who was AFCON MVP, or you're Osimhen, our best player, no matter what. If Osimhen goes to Saudi, I don't care. I'll throw my rules out the pram. I will track Osimhen. I don't track non-European clubs because I don't like all this clamoring for players. You say Tanzania League players play for Nigeria. What are we doing here? Then you now tell us that foreign countries should respect us, but you don't do anything by merit. So I have no problems there. Wingers, you already spoke about it anyway. Tell our education should have been in there for Yanacho. But overall, I think we have the squad to prosecute these friendlies. One thing that's a big slight worry for me, I think I heard you mention it, AyoT, already, but Osimhen's lack of match fitness. He hasn't played any friendlies. Nothing. He's just been training. Like, I don't know what kind of I want to force my move out that you don't even play friendlies. At least get your match fitness up for whoever you're going to sign for, you know. So we'll see where it ends up. But whether we like or not, he's still our star player, you know. So, and let me know. And I hate Osimhen slander of my life. All you Nigerians trying to abuse this God-given blessing to our country. It will not. Let me not swear. But go and watch Osimhen very well, because you guys don't watch. You guys don't watch. This is generational talent on our hands, man. I don't think I have to keep repeating it. I went to Naples. I went there when he won the Scudetto. I've never seen why people worship a black man like that before. I don't think you understand how great this guy is, because you are saying that he disrespected Finidi and we must respect people. Please respect his earned, not given. It's only in Nigeria the NFF will be useless. Then they'll tell you that we should. Somebody said NFF should create disciplinary rules. A body that cannot even get a player's name right on a squad list. We don't even have press conference. You said they should have disciplinary comment. Just laughing. Nigeria has someone that dragged us by himself to AFCON final. You think Osimhen, if Osimhen did not play, would have made the AFCON final? All the people that said, oh, Osimhen did not score. Go and check every action that led to a goal for Nigeria with our Sofa Pesero ball. Osimhen was involved in pretty much every action. If he didn't win the penalty, he drew the defender away. If he didn't draw the defender away, he got the assist. If he didn't get the assist, he scored. If he didn't score, he was just a nuisance. And he plays for the country with his life. So, Osimhen slander, that's my one worry. And let's be honest, we've seen the evidence when Osimhen is not there. We are garbage. But this is why we said you need a structure. If we had a team structure where you just know, okay, plug and play, Osimhen, Boniface, and let's be honest, Boniface is yet to have a good game for Nigeria, except that friendly, when that qualifier, we pasted some team like 4-0 or something, you know. No one's forgetting the Osimhen or Finidi issue, but if you guys want to know how I feel, it's the same way we're going back to structures and doing things the proper way. If you were a competent national team organization, before the World Cup qualifiers, you would have had a press conference like every single normal club does. All of you in the comments and all of us here, we all support clubs. Your club has a press conference. And let's not even say it's just the big clubs. If you go and watch the Cypriot First Division, their coach will have a press conference. Go and watch Colombia. Go and watch Peru. Go and watch Mexico. Go and watch, name me another random team. Even Luxembourg, they will have a press conference.
We don't do press conference, though.
Of course, we don't do that. That's my point.
My club I support.
If we did the press conference, then somebody would have said, by the way, we know Osimhen was not called up. Can you explain why? Would have said he's injured, he's not available for selection. Finish. But because the NFF don't do anything right, they will now drop some old, random, stupid videos. You can tell whoever they hired for AFCON, the contract has finished. Just a useless body.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, it's hearsay. Everyone's going around. Then you have those foot soldiers who think because they're cool with Osimhen, hey, I have exclusive. Rubbish. If you just had proper communication, none of that would have happened in the first place.
Yeah.
It would have been clear. But then we're seeing quotes from Finidi, but we can't see the press conference to attribute it to him to be sure what was said. We barely get any coverage. Both us in the abroad and in Nigeria, we're struggling to find streams to watch the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Literally 4 months after they win AFCON final, and they're supposed to be giant for Africa. And you're coming here to tell me we should not forget Osimhen Finidi. Finidi should go back to whoever he is. The same NFF announced that Finidi left the job. Finidi announced nothing. But we're supposed to be a proper country because we're a giant of Africa. You think it's end? Look at Morocco. Morocco, the World Cup semi-final. Olympic semi-final, and they're hosting the next AFCON. And you don't need to be Harry Potter or Genie in the bottle to tell what's coming next from Morocco. Unless there's one heartbreak coming from somewhere. Have you seen Morocco struggle to call up their dual nationals? They beg. They say, please, I'm Moroccan. I want to play for you. Because of structure. This is a country that's not won AFCON since 1976 or 78. They are suffering. Their women won AFCON.
76, yeah.
Thank you, 76. That's almost 60 years ago, 50 years ago. My math's failing me, 48 years ago. So what are we talking about here? They are mentioning
Okay. Olu, you guys have set Olu off, but
nah, they make me so angry, bro.
I have to cut you off.
I'm done.
You know, but okay, before we go, so looking at the team, the squad that was selected for these games, we know that we have two AFCON qualifiers coming up. First game against Benin. I'll start with you, Olu. What is your preferred lineup? You know, how would you want the team to set up under a new coach? You know, how do you think we should set up for these games?
First game is at home. You have to show attacking intent. You need to show your style and your structure. I think you have to play for at the back. I don't want to see no three-man defense. No offense, Shemi Ajayi, but Shemi Ajayi, I think, is clearly our third best center back from those three. I would even argue that Ugbo and Co are probably slightly ahead of him, but we know about his aerial threat. But man, Shemi Ajayi on the floor gives me nightmares, man. But 4-3-3. Basi, Ekong, I know left back for now, even though he always plays right back for Nigeria. Play Osai Samuel as right back. I think Osai Samuel is a very, very good indication of how dual nationals come into the setup and flourish, but also show their pride in the national team and in their performances. Same can be said of Ola. I know some people try to get annoyed about him saying he was injured in AFCON final. If you were, did R9 not play World Cup final while he was almost unconscious? These are people that love wearing the national team jersey, and we must support them. Midfield three, I think because it's the first game, ideally I would have only played one destroyer, which for me would have been Onyedika. I know he can play as DM and play as a box-to-box, but I would rather, for solidity, play Onyedika and actually, I'm lying. Onyedika's definitely not going to play. Ndidi. Once Ndidi comes back, they make him play. I don't know. I've watched a good Ndidi match for Nigeria in a minute, you know. Like, bro, since that free kick he gave Mahrez in 2019, almost. I've been tracking Ndidi well. We'll give him captain's armband. You say, Anyway, Ndidi will play with Onyedika. And for me personally, I like the arguments you guys have raised about Iwobi. Me personally, I will start Iwobi as no. Iwobi and Visaya Delebashi have to start. I don't know who's gonna play left wing because Lookman has to play too. And if Osimhen does not play, we're dead. Maybe let's actually, I take it back. Let's borrow Finidi style. Play Nianacho on the right. Shoehorn Lookman to the left. Play Visaya Delibashiru and Iwobi. Visaya Delibashiru has to play. And Lookman and Osimhen. And let's see how we go. If we're struggling, switch it up. But that's my initial thoughts. Don't cook me in the comments. I know as I was thinking about it, I said, Lookman. Okay, Visaya Delibashiru on the bench. Iwobi start as Cam. As our senior. You know, Iwobi has played the most Super Eagles games for Nigeria in the past 10 years.
Yeah.
Iwobi has almost 80 caps. Has he reached 80?
I think he has actually.
The way people disrespect Iwobi, I feel like slapping them.
Iwobi is the real senior man in our team.
Senior man, not a small boy. 80 caps on the dot, 10 goals. So Iwobi start as Cam, and then play Lookman, Osimhen, and Chukwueze, because we have to see what Chukwueze can do. Only alternative I would change is move Iwobi slightly further back and play for style. Well, I think for Smith, they'll play two destroyers in the middle, and that's how we get on.
All right. Thank you, Olu. Smith Layi, what are you thinking?
I think you muted me. I'm muted.
No, we can hear you.
Okay, sorry. I barely said the host muted me. So for me, I think this national team cannot defend with two center back. I keep on saying this thing. We don't have the personnel to defend with two center back. I was thinking the Chelsea boy will come into Nigeria, the
Tosin.
and Kevin Bassey, they can defend with two at the back. But for me, these guys doesn't can defend. If you combine Bassey and Osimhen Ajayi, it's gonna be the same thing. You want to see them running from one pillar to post. For me, I think I will go for a 4-3-4-3 formation so that especially against Benin Republic, I will want a different attacking outlet up front, apart from Lookman and Iwobi. I also want my fullbacks to also attack them very well. So for me, I think my goalkeeper. Unfortunately, I'm going to go against the books here. I'm going to go with Maduka Okoye. The issue is this guy is just so talented.
Yeah, Okoye, of course. Yeah, sorry.
He's so talented. A lot of people judge Maduka Okoye. See, the AFCON in Cameroon we practically how many years ago now? 3 years ago. You've not even watched Okoye. Everything they say, oh. For me, I think Maduka Okoye is the first choice. The centre back, I think the AFCON team should stay the same. William Troost-Ekong, Kevin Bassey, and Osimhen Ajayi should will be the three at the back. In the midfield, it's going to be 4. Olaino, Frank Onyeka. Now, I will now replace Alex Iwobi by Wilfred Ndidi in that midfield. I will now use Bruno Nyemachi as a left wing back. But I hope that he will perform well. The one he went to go and play against Zimbabwe, he didn't do well there. I just hope that he will perform well this time around. Up front, it's going to be Iwobi, Lookman, and Osimhen. Yeah. I'm going to play Chukwueze.
And we have to be honest, Lookman and Osimhen, when you think about like partnerships, like anybody who plays
They'll be very good, yeah.
Lookman and Osimhen definitely have an understanding. And also, I just wanted to say on the Maduka one, please. I'm Maduka's biggest fan, apart from what's that guy, journalist, who's always chasing him everywhere.
Omar.
Do you guys know since Vincent Eyama, we have not had one Super Eagles goalkeeper that is starting in a top 5 league in Europe?
Yeah.
And to watch the way Okoye has gone and watch him every week and the way he performs, it is undeniable everything you're saying, Smith. And I love that I've seen it. And this comes back to NFF. The reason why people have these thoughts is because we only watch Nigeria in World Cup or AFCON. Because a lot of Nigerians do not have the natural inclination to watch our qualifiers anymore. You have to bring back the love. Nigeria is one of the few countries that nobody watches any of our games outside of tournaments. So the same opinion they had of Musa 2014 and 2018, they will carry the same opinion 7 years later. It is so frustrating. I'm so glad Nwabali played well. I even love Nwabali.
Yeah.
Guys, this is not even a contest. I'm sorry. It is not. Sorry, that's my final. Oh.
Okay. And I mean, our goalkeeping situation, honestly, right now, we need God to give us a goalkeeper from somewhere, because other than Okoye and Nwabali that we can call because he did well at the AFCON, none of our other goalkeepers is playing anywhere that we can actually even try to champion them into the national team. Uzoho is second choice in Cyprus. What's this guy called? Adeleye, only God knows what has happened to him over the last. He was on the bench for Hapoel Jerusalem throughout the past season. I think he just moved to, I forget the name of the club that he just moved to.
You don't track him again?
No, I track him. He moved to Enosis in Cyprus. So Adeleye too is inside. Adeleye too now has carried his bags to Cyprus. We had other options, like I think Matthew Yakubu got called up one time in the past.
In Austria.
He now plays for Red Fox FC.
Which division is that?
In Slovakia.
Division what?
I think are they first in the second league in Slovakia. So somebody said Okonkwo is coming up. Unless Okonkwo gets caught up, we don't really have any. And even Okonkwo, we have to give him credit, but he's playing in League One for Wrexham, so it's not even a top division.
But don't forget that also Okonkwo played for Lask. It was in Austria before.
Yeah.
He did very well.
Okay, but I think for me, my 11, I'll go with a 4-3-3. I don't want us to play 3 at the back, Really, let Nigerians not start to fight this coach on his first day, Exactly. So I'll go with the 4-3-3. I said it when we spoke about the Maduka whole thing before. I also would go with Maduka. Even if whether or not I think Maduka is better than Nwabali, Maduka Okoye has been impressive for Udinese end of last season and so far this season. Nwabali's season has not even started.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Maduka, for that reason alone, in fact, should at least get the chance to play. There are no friendlies coming up anytime soon. So it's not like there's friendly that you can say you test him in a friendly match. So I think the fact that he's been doing well recently and his team and Umabali's team has not even started their season, I think Okoye should be in goal. Left back, I'll go with Aino. Aino plays left back every week for Nottingham Forest. We know that he can do a job there. My centre back pair, obviously, Calvin Bassey on the left, William Troost-Ekong on the right. My right back would be Bright Osayi Samuel. Even though Osayi Samuel has been a bit in and out of the Fenerbahce team under Jose Mourinho this season, we've seen him do well for the Super Eagles, so let him just play and let's see how we can do. My midfield three would be Indidi, Onyedika, and then FDB ahead of them. I like Fisaya Dele Bashiru. Maybe I'm not as big a fan yet as Olu. I've purchased stocks in Dele Bashiru, but I'm still holding out. I still have more cash to spend. I've not put all my money into his stocks yet, but I like Dele Bashiru. So I'll play him in midfield three. Indidi Onyedika. Onyedika can go box to box if need be. Indidi can sit. In fact, Indidi these days can go box to box, but one person has to sit. One person has to sit. And I think Dele Bashiru should be the creator from that midfield. I'll play Lookman on the left. I'll play Iwobi on the right. I think Chukwueze can, with all due respect, sit his ass on the bench. Kelechi Iheanacho, senior man, can also put his Yansh on the bench. And then I'll play Iwobi from the right. I would have loved to play Iwobi from the left, but Lookman, Lookman has to be there. But I think Iwobi can go on the right. And then up front, I'm tempted to say Osimhen because he's Osimhen, but I'm also considering the fact that he has not even played one preseason match. But he's still Osimhen, so he still carries that threat, you know. So I'll probably say yes, Osimhen as the number 9. Based on his lack of match fitness, I would imagine that he will gas out in like 60 something minutes or 70 minutes, and then they can bring on Victor Boniface, to finish the game. But yeah, that would be my starting 11. And yeah, that is pretty much it. Sorry, you said,
one thing for you.
yeah.
Someone said Moses Simon is prolific. I just wanted to let them know Moses Simon has never scored over 6 goals in a league campaign before. Moses Simon has never gotten. He had one season when he had 14 goal contributions.
Yeah.
And that was his highest in 21-22. Please, let's be guided. Also, someone saying Lookman is unprofessional for sitting out for a transfer. Go and check the history of the 10 or 20 biggest transfers in football and get back with that terrible statement. Ikeme only played one game in the Premier League. Someone said Carl Ikeme played in the Prem. Please, that's rubbish. And then also the last one, Smith Layi. The same way you mentioned that Darabayo, I don't know what's doing that, brother, man. In fact, I've given up because it's either they're not advising him correctly. First of all, it does not call his name by his normal name. He's about to be 27 next month. I don't know if he wants to wait for one English cap. He's reached the point where I don't want him to play for us again. So if you go away, like treating Super Eagles as if we're like some next, be wearing drip, wearing nice dresses, saying Happy Independence Day, my country. He has not said it in 3 years. I don't know if you noticed. Since they were asking him about it. He's a very funny fellow, man. I was maybe I'm sure he's for Chelsea thinking, oh, I'll get an England cap, at least one cap. Bro, stay away. We're Nigeria, beg, really beg. Please.
I can't even lie. I'm also uninterested in Adebayo. If he wants to come, I don't even know if I want him anymore. But I'm definitely not someone that thinks that we should go and be disturbing him or trying to convince him. When he gets his one England cap at 29, I'm sure he'll feel satisfied. He would have achieved his lifelong goal. I wish him all the best. I hope he does well for Chelsea. But I could care less. But I could care less about him with the Nigerian national team, honestly. The only thing is that obviously Ekong is on the older side now, so we need somebody that's going to take over from Ekong. Maybe that's Igor Ogu. The only thing is that Igor still has quite a bit to learn. I watch him every once in a while. He still has quite a bit to learn.
He's too add.
When he comes up against some very physical strikers or some very strong strikers, that Lukaku one was an embarrassment. But Lukaku as bad as we insult Lukaku about how he's not a very good striker. when he played against Lukaku finished him. But you know, he's still growing. This season he has been already been doing okay so far this season. You know, but he needs to up his level a little bit. Unfortunately, they are not playing. They are not going to qualify for the Champions League because they are already down 2 goals. But at least he'll play Europa League again next season. You know, and keep on getting that experience. And hopefully, he can do well. Gabriel Osho, someone just mentioned Gabriel Osho. That's another option as well. Playing for AJ Auxerre in the French League One. But we definitely need an Ekong replacement in the near future. If we keep talking, we're not going to end today. So
I just say something about Gabriel Shaw. Sorry,
okay, go on.
He was meant to be part of the AFCON team, but it was his passport that really delayed him. So I don't know why he's not getting caught up again. It's that time, but
why do all these dual nationals not have? Anyway, let me not cast myself, but you go have Nigeria passport now. I don't understand how their parents are doing. You give them the two, let them be holding it. Anyway, sure.
But yeah, do you want to say something?
Yeah, I don't think that because there was a saying that one Super Cup player too, before he got the passport, dual national. I don't want to mention him. Before they could secure that passport, it was one old grandpa passport that they brought to trade, just as an evidence that he's going Nigerian route. So sometimes these people normally forget it. They don't. I don't want to mention them actually, but some people will know the person I'm talking about. So I don't mention them. So it's sometimes they don't count it. They take visa to Nigeria. They don't care. But kudos to Leslie Okechukwu. I think he got the Nigerian passport already.
Yeah. Maybe if he does well in Southampton, maybe we can start to talk about him.
Marky your Chelsea boys, even Madueke, he moved me on Sunday. But I know he can't wait.
Madueke was England. That's probably
I someone that's talking to Ruby Rose. He can't wait. I play for 3 Lions. Someone that changed his name from Nonso Chukwu to Noni. Hey, God will help us.
Yeah.
But just before we round up, please shout out to everyone that has stayed with us, man. 2 hours 27 minutes into this, and we still have 395 people tuned in. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. We have 144 right now on YouTube and 251 watching on X on Twitter. For the 251 of you on Twitter, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys so much. But please subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/@EagleStrackerNG. In the future, we are only going to be streaming on YouTube, and I do not want you guys to miss the show. There's a lot of complications that come with streaming on multiple platforms at the same time, including, I would like to be open and honest with you guys, including financial complications. So, again, I'm not going to say anybody should, give us money or, do this thing. So, the least you can do for us, I think, is to just go to the platform that makes the most sense for us and that makes it convenient for us. I don't want you guys to miss on this. For 250, we want people to be here. It means that you guys like the content. You guys are enjoying the program. So please subscribe to the YouTube channel, and you would always see what we're talking about. You never miss the conversations. And there's a lot more content that's on the YouTube channel other than the live shows that we do. Reactions to so many different things, interviews, are much more that's yet to come. Just before we go, I just want to give a shout out to the under-20 women's national team of Nigeria. Their tournament kicks off on September 1st on that Sunday against South Korea. I know that we've not given them the attention that maybe they deserve, but we'll react after every single game of yours, we promise, at the very, very least. There's just so much that's happening right now. It's hard to fit everything in such a short span of time. Yes, as of yesterday, I was thinking I would talk about certain things, but then NFF can't give us plenty more to talk about today. So things are always
call up Sebastian. That girl,
Flourish, yes, Flourish is in the team. Flourish is there. Ajakai is there. But yeah, we'll watch your games. We'll obviously react to all your matches for the Under-20. I hope that they really do well over there in Colombia. The games are going to be like 12 a.m. Nigerian time. For me, for me, it works out because that's like 7:30, 7 p.m. my time. So I'm fine with that. But shout out to the Under-20 girls. September 1st against Korea. If you are in Nigeria, that would be 12 a.m. on September the 2nd. Or if you are in Europe as well. But yeah, shout out to everyone. Please make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you feel compelled, you can always leave a super chat. Hey, I'm never going to complain about you supporting us. You can always leave a super chat. You can become a member of the channel. We appreciate you. But then, that one costs money. If you just want to support us without spending your money, like, share, subscribe. That means a lot more than you would imagine. Those are simple 2 seconds that you use to click that button. It makes a big difference. It sends a signal to YouTube that we're doing something right. It helps the channel grow, and it helps us to keep on doing what we are doing. Olu, I know I hit you up last minute once the NFF dropped the bomb on us, but thank you very much for coming and sharing your thoughts. I love your passion. I love your knowledge, everything that you do. If you guys are not subscribed to Olu channel as well, make sure you subscribe to Nigeria Football Weekly. He's on YouTube if you like to watch. He's also on all the
Latest
audio
episode
platforms.
just dropped, literally,
Yeah.
as we're talking. As I've been gisting, as I've been talking, we've been
So
working.
once you're done here, you can go and listen to his thoughts on the Nigeria Football Week podcast. If you like to listen, he's on all Spotify, Apple Podcasts, everything. If you
Our
like to
podcast,
watch,
yeah.
he's
And
on
also,
YouTube.
just to say thank you guys for always having me. I'm a big, if not the biggest Eagle Tracker fan. I've even bought the
Thank you.
merch, as you know.
Yeah.
I'm very, very proud about everything you do, and it's lovely to meet like-minded people who just care about our national team, regardless of our geographical differences or all the stuff we have going on or our day jobs or whatever it may be. We're all just trying to do. We're just trying to bring light to our national team, and I'm tired of our national team not being respected, especially outside Nigeria. So the little we can do is what will help. And these little things I keep lamenting about: press conference, press conference, press conference. So somebody writes another one there. How do you know this player is not committed to Nigeria? If there was a press conference, you could have got Oklahoma there to give his thoughts. So I'm very, very excited, and thanks for always having me. Keep up the awesome work. Honestly, I don't know how you do it. Please, everybody keep supporting Eagles Tracker. And if you need an additional dose of Nigerian football, Nigerian Football Weekly is right there on all platforms, and on Twitter we're at NFWPOD. Something similar to what IO does, but I just try to track our Nigerian footballers every week in the top 10 leagues in Europe plus South Africa. If you are looking for PFL, I'll mention it once in a while. But I want to talk about our players.
And I'll say something. If you want to watch somebody, you see how Olu was talking today and his passion was coming out. That's the way Olu is always passionate. So that's one of the reasons why I enjoy watching you, because when I talk, I'm not that expressive usually. I say what I think and I'm not that expressive. But I love the way you express yourself, your passion, everything shows. People that watch you will be able to tell that this guy loves Nigeria and he cares, even though he's using swear words every once in a while.
Excuse me, I have another nationality that likes to swear a lot. You can add the numbers together. Sorry, it's just my environment.
But thank you very much, Olu. And just to update you guys on what's coming next, interview with Francis Uzoho is going to be out in a couple of days.
Yes.
I promise you, you've never heard Uzoho speak like this. I promise you. So make sure you're subscribed to Eagles Tracker on YouTube. You don't want to miss it. We spoke about everything from his injuries to playing World Cup to the mistake against Ghana, to everything. If he easy, make Oyinbo sign you. I asked him about everything, and he was honest. I initially told him I'll keep him for 45 minutes. The whole thing was about an hour and 45 minutes. Because when the first 45 minutes reached, I was like, bro, if you need to go, you can go. He said, no, let's keep talking. And I really appreciate the time that he gave me. It was an amazing interview. Like I said, I promise you've not heard Uzoho speak like this anywhere before. He was honest. He spoke about what he thinks he was right, where he thinks he was wrong. He even gave a message to all the people that are always criticizing him. Everything. It's going to be an amazing one. It will be out either on Friday or on Saturday. One of those 2 days. I'm just doing the final touches to the editing right now. But yeah, interview with Francis Zoho. After that, you mentioned him, or you implied him earlier today. I'm going to have an interview with Benjamin Tanimu that's going to be live. Where I'll ask him, see, hey, you play in Tanzania. People don't think you should be in Super Eagles. What do you think? We're going to talk about everything. Interview with Ume, Emmanuel Lume, who's a young player that played under 20 that just moved to Zurich. And then I'm working on a lot more interviews as well. So guys, just make sure you stay tuned in. It's going to be exciting content back to back. And then of course, on our 20 Women's World Cup, we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be doing our weekly podcast. There's so much content. Sometimes I find it hard because I'm like, I posted this thing yesterday. I want to give people time to digest this content before we throw another thing at them and they forget about the old one. But there's so much content, there's so much that's going to be happening. All that we ask is that you guys.
I really enjoyed your Nicole Payne interview. Shout out to you. I
Thank
think
you.
you remind me of an Arsenal fan, Tim Stillman. He's always following the women's team, the men too, but the women, he doesn't joke with them. I don't think there's anybody on the planet who supports or at least follows, at least in terms of engagement, with the women's national team like you do. So shout out. It made me watch them more, and I do now.
And I have to shout out to the ladies as well because I think they also make me feel appreciated. Even behind the scenes, nobody should get anything wrong. They don't send me money, but they, whenever I talk to any of them, they always talk about how they appreciate what I do in terms of promoting the national team, in terms of supporting them. So it inspires me and it motivates me to even do more, and that's one of the things I have to say. I've always said this when I first started the Goose Tracker and I wanted to talk to people. My first coverage was 2019 Women's World Cup, watching the Super Falcons. And I remember then I had like 100 followers. I reached out to almost all the players and they were all happy to talk to me, even though I had almost no audience at the time. I even interviewed the then coach, Thomas Denaby, and one thing that they were telling me was that, bro, World Cup is starting in less than a month. You are the first person that is even asking to talk to us. That's what they were telling me, and they were all excited, even with my 100 followers. So till today, whenever I reach out to any of the Super Falcons, they always tell me yes. I still have an interview that I'm supposed to do with Rinsola Bajide. That one is supposed to come up, and so much more, man. If there's anything that you guys want us to talk about, please always engage with us in the comments. This morning, people started sending me messages. AyoT, talk about this. And I always explain the day of the episode is too late for you to let me know what to talk about because we've already come up with the schedule, we've come up with graphics, we've done all the overlays, done all the everything. You have to let me know at least 2 days in advance so that we can schedule it. If there's any question that you want me to ask anybody, always leave it in the comments. Anybody you want me to interview, leave it in the comments. I'll do my best. I always say I have no fear. The worst that they can tell me is no, I don't want to talk to you. Everybody move on with their life. I'm not asking anybody for $1. All I'm asking for is your time. So yes, it's been a pleasure talking to you guys. Smith Layi, final word before we go.
Fantastic job from you. You guys said do a very good job. And I remember your interview with Esther Okoronko. For me, that is a legendary interview. I've been to that interview like 5 times. I've never seen an interview like that before. When you ask her what will she be if she's not a footballer, she's 419. I was listening, I was laughing, and I just hope that Zoe interview can beat that. Because that one, I still listened to that interview up to today. Fantastic job from you, and like I said, Olu said that you carry the national team like your baby in the back. Anytime anybody want to mess with them, I remember the emotion. You go after them. In fact, to say anybody abuse Ochoa now, you will stay 30 minutes more. And I reply the person. But you do a very good job. Fantastic. And that's it. You are projecting these girls, that's very important. And these girls too, they're appreciating you. That's also very important. I just hope that the one that has to speak to our manager will come back and talk to you.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
I've always watched the Super 8 Falcons, but as a result of even the coverage, I don't think I've missed the Super Falcons game in 3 or 4 years either. And I would be lying if I didn't attribute some of that to Eagles Tracker. So,
Thank you.
bro, man. Keep shouting.
Thank you.
Doing your thing, man.
Yeah.
Final words. Super Eagles win in Jesus' name. Amen. And Arsenal win the Premier League. Have a good day, guys.
I can't say amen to that one, but but yes, thank you everybody that has stayed with us. Thank you for watching. Thank you for engaging. Once again, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel if you are watching on X. If you are watching on YouTube and you haven't subscribed either, please subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like the video before you go and then look forward to all the fantastic comments that will be coming up in the near future. As always, this has been the Niger FC podcast. I have a fantastic guest, Olu of the Nigerian Football Weekly podcast. My co-host is